Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you out there, and welcome to another edition of 757 Sports Talk, streaming all the time on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us. What did you just watch? You watched the end of a region semifinal do-or-die, winner-go-home game, and moving on and winning on a game winner, a buzzer beater, the South County Stallions, with Johnny Anderson going coast to coast. It's as nice as butter and toast. They knock out Lake Braddock in a low-scoring affair in the 30s. As he's sitting in some secluded room where the temperature's not in the 30s, Coach Ed Young joins me, Matt Hatfield, where I've got the piano, the fireplace. It's cozy on this final Saturday of February 2026. Good morning, sir. How goes it?
I'm doing fine. It is warm. I'm okay where I'm at. Secluded location. Obviously, I'm not in my palatial estate like you are in yours. I am out of the area right now. I'll just leave it at that, and for good reasons. But I'm where I hang my hat and don't wear one.
Oh, well, speaking of, two rumors that you can clear up. Rumor number one, you were at more games this past week than I was because of my broadcasting radio responsibilities as I get ready to jet off to Pensacola next week. So I'll be missing the state semifinal round, I do believe. I should catch the state quarterfinals live, but I'm watching all the time, as you well know, even in airports and buses and all kinds of things with my tablets, with my phones, and my devices, thanks to NFHS Network, which you just saw the video courtesy of moments ago with that clip. But rumor has it, number one, that you'll be attending an NBA game somewhere this weekend. Is that true or not true? And rumor number two has it, we might have some footage of it, you were at a concert on Friday night. Can you confirm or deny any of those rumors or speculations as you shake your head? See, I have investigative sources all over the place. By the way, there's all kinds of rumors this week with the story, which we'll get to in a moment, a big one in girls basketball, which is dominating the headlines. But, I have people all over the place that tell me and fill me in on things.
I understand. When it's anything that's a rumor about me, you're the one that starts it. So I already know that. And half the time it's false. But in this case, it's probably true. Some things were set up way beforehand, which I wasn't privy to. But anyways, I'm part of it. And I'm missing the games Friday, Saturday that are up there, but I'll be back at it next week in anticipation.
Why don't you do what I do, since you like to log on people's devices and knock them off? Why don't you just get your tablet or your phone and watch some games while you're honky-tonking around whatever state and city you're in?
I don't have that opportunity because I'm too busy. I'm too much on my feet on the go. I can't just sit back and watch the games. If I could, I would. I absolutely would. I saw some great games last week over at Norview in the Region 5 boys semis and I didn't say championship, but the semis. So,
and they were looking for Tuesday night in Chesapeake, by the way. They were saying, "Where's Coach at? Where's Coach at? We got bones to pick with them."
Yeah, I know that. I'm trying to get around because I'm hoping in anticipation of our broadcasting the state championships from VCU I think for the 12th year or something. I want try to see as many teams as I can to kind of be up on it, on who's doing what and who looks like what. And then, keeping up with what I don't see through, obviously, you and your work for stuff that you do, Virginia Preps and that. So that's where I'm at. I finally got over somewhat our regional loss to War Hill. So now I want to watch. I'm a fan of everybody else, and that's where I'm at.
Well, since you didn't want to acknowledge as your good buddy Mike Desmond likes to say, acknowledge from South Lakes, who won't get a three-peat, unfortunately. We'll go to the videotape. This is where you. This looks like the Doobie Brothers. It's not the Doobie Brothers. My man Michael McDonald. Where were you at? What is that?
That was Boys to Men, the famous group. How you not heard of Boys to Men blows my mind. Also, New Edition and the beautiful Toni Braxton. And if you tell me you never heard of any of these.
No, I know who Toni Braxton is. She sang "Stop, Look, Listen to Your Heart" with the aforementioned Michael McDonald. It's on my Alexa back there. I start playing it, but then we'll
She didn't sing that one last night, but she did her hits, and the place was absolutely jam-packed, sold out. Spectrum Arena in Charlotte. So I'm anxious to see if there's more fans there last night, or they'll have more for the Hornet game today against the Trailblazers. So the rumor is true.
Oh, see? That's where he is, ladies and gents. Woody says good morning. He did say Coach said Hanley has a good team. And speaking of Hanley, I think we're going to be, it's not official, we're hoping to be connecting with Zach Harold Zook in about a half hour or so on the show. We are going to be talking with Sherman Rivers, head basketball coach at Patriot, who's going to be taking on Lansdowne in the state quarterfinals, a rematch of last year when Lansdowne went up there and knocked out Patriot in the state quarterfinals with a couple of freshman guards who are now sophomores. That was 76-59, but Patriot doing an awesome job on Friday night with a blowout win, which we'll get to in the brackets, as they won their fifth consecutive Region 6B title and sixth in 10 years. And I see a couple of your guys. I say your guys. They're not your guys anymore, I guess. They used to be your guys on the IG. If you're watching, by the way, you're always encouraged. Players, coaches, fans, we don't care who you are, where you are, what you want to interact with us about. Like Woody, you can send questions, thoughts, suggestions, because I'm going to go on a rant here in a few minutes, and Ed's going to be laughing because I got a rant coming. Not him today, it's me. I'm about to rant. But I see a couple of your former River guys, one who's still with the Warriors watching the show. I think Keyshawn Johnson up there on the IG. Teron Atwater watching on the IG. They're getting ready to play in the state quarterfinals. So hello to you guys out there and others that are tuning in with us. You're always encouraged to hit the chat box, the comment box, anything on your mind or man sports out there. Great effort. Kempsville was down 22-8. They're one of the surprise stories with Trey Freeman, former Old Dominion and Kellum standout in his second year at the helm of the Chiefs, who are going to the state quarters after upending Indian River, a 3 seed, and Princess Anne, a 2 seed. They lost last year to Indian River, so good job by him, and it took Green Run to the wire, but Stallions still won as Kenny Harris and company got the 4-peat as region champs. And, oh, by the way, Green Run boys, the only team that won a state championship on the guys' side last year that's in the state tournament. We'll get to the girls' teams that won state championships and how they're doing in a little bit here. But, Ed, so many games going on, so much action to go over. Hanley did beat EC Glass Woody. Where do you want to begin? What side? What division? Uh-oh, he's thinking now. This could be dangerous.
Well, I want to go back. You said one of my former players, Tyron Atwater, watching. I just want to say congratulations to him and the rest of the River squad and Joe Hassell, the new head coach over there. I saw that game and where they beat.
Which one? You mean Kings Fork when they punched their ticket to the States? Yeah.
And I'd seen the game where they beat Maury in the opener. So I got a chance to see him in both of that. And, hats off to him. Tyron has really grown tremendously as a player. He's just poised on the court. He's a deadly shooter. Takes it to the hole very well, which is something he didn't do early in his career when I had him when he was younger. And I have hats off to him. Somebody brought it to my attention. Now, you said you want to go on a rant. You know me, I don't mind controversy. and I will face it head up. Somebody had brought to my attention, maybe you know this too. I put a comment about Nansemond River winning their tournament, their games, getting into the regional final. Congratulating them. I congratulated the team, and I put in there some guys who started with me as freshmen, and it's kind of cool to see them grow into their junior, senior years and how successful they are. And then I said, I'm very proud of Joe, a guy I brought on as an assistant, was with me for 3 years, took over when I was exited out, and he's done a tremendous job. And he's got that team playing poised, under control, which really excites me to watch how he does that. And somebody's brought to my attention that some people are saying I trying to weasel in on their glory or success like it's because of me. I wish those people would come to my face instead of hiding behind wherever the hell they hide behind, because it seems like they do this all the time, or they're absolutely clueless. I am congratulating Nansemond River and their players and coaches because I'm truly excited to see them, what they're doing. I like how watching them play. I'm not taking any credit for what they've done, period. I've got another team I'm coaching now that takes 100% of my attention. But those guys are kids that I had when I was younger. Joe was with me for 3 years, did a great job. And he should have gotten the job after me. He was not their first selection. And I know that from a very well source, but he was the guy they should have hired, and they did hire. And luckily they did, because they would have been idiots not to hire him, because he does a tremendous job. It's a great relationship with those kids, and he's done that job. So I'm going to put it out there in a mild rant. If you got a problem with me thinking I'm trying to take credit for Nansemond River, call me. I'm easy to get a hold of. And I probably got something for your I'll leave it at that before I say the wrong thing. But again,
I know for a fact. I know what you're saying, and you were a guy that was pushing for Joe to get the job even as you exited. So I mean, that's just the honest truth here, and you're not wrong about some of what you're saying too. Lansdowne seemed to have faded in the last 2 minutes against Petersburg and Manchester. How does one fix that? Well, Petersburg's really good. Sports 2026 J9V. The Manchester game, I was watching it. Unfortunately, Manchester doesn't stream on NFHS or on Facebook or YouTube, but I was watching it thanks to Lansdowne Hoops on IG, which I follow. And then also when their stream went out, just like the NFHS went out at the end of the Norview Woodside game, I'm watching it after ODU game. I was saying, Ed, help me out here. Give me an update. Not 6-7. I'm doing help me out with the update. But thankfully, our man Super Eric Rogers out there, thanks to Super E, you saved us. He went live because I had people texting me, who won the game? Who won the Norview Woodside game?
Let me tell the people out there, I've been with Matt Hatfield when he's watching something that either freezes or is not going his way. And this joker will destroy the place.
I won't destroy.
I mean,
that's not true. That is not true.
Raise his voice. I'm putting a hand out saying, Lord Almighty, please take care of this youngster here because he's about to lose it. It's true. It's
mild.
As Kurt Angle said one time.
I am mild mannered, no screaming, hollering. I use the inside voice. Listen, I deal with kids now, just like you, as you well know, which is another story for another time. Which
all I have to say
on the show, people now confront me about this.
Watch me make him shake. Was it the Colts Vikings a few years back?
Nothing wrong with that game. I was in an airport with ODU women going somewhere. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Colts Vikings. Was that a football game?
It was a football game, all right.
But I will say this. I thought again, it was going in and out. I had two IGs because then I went over to, I think it was our man Rabbit Flicks on IG. I went and watched the end of the game on his IG when the Lansdowne one went out. I thought they might have gone delay stall a bit early. And, a couple calls didn't go their way. It's hard to say. I didn't get a full grasp of it. But I will say this. Now, they get Patriot coming up, which is a tough draw. But this could end up being, perhaps if they win that game, a better path to the state championship because Westfield's on the other side of the bracket. So it might not be the worst thing in the world. Again, they do have sophomores. Fixing it, I mean, Ed will answer this, I think, for your question better. It's about execution. You got to execute down the stretch. That's how you fix it. If you don't execute, you lose. And when you get to the playoffs, it gets harder and harder to execute against other really good teams or teams built to stop certain things, be it a certain player or certain plays that you run.
Yeah, I give an example. Our game with Warhill, we led for 29 minutes and faded in the last 3 minutes. we kind of got into a panic situation. We didn't attack the press the way we had been attacking it, the way we practiced it, and we started throwing the ball all over the place. Then one of my key guys, fatigue set in because we had to play him longer than I thought we did, or probably longer than we should have. We couldn't really give him much rest, and it wasn't getting as much production off the bench as I thought we would. So I didn't sub as much as I normally do, which probably cost us, which is, again, that's 100% my fault. But I went with my guys that had been playing for a while, and they were coming off the flu. And I'm telling you what, in the locker room, they were spent. They could hardly breathe. And we went with them, and Warhill took advantage of that. Shots fell, and ours didn't. So when you talk about, well, how do you take care of that? You had mentioned about maybe they went to the stall a little bit too early, or the control game, I like to call it, a little bit too early to get out of rhythm. Maybe another team has turned up the pressure, and you didn't really handle it right. And remember, these are kids, and the younger you are, the more likely they are to kind of get in a panicky situation or make a quick decision that wasn't the right decision. And of course, you're playing better teams now than, throughout the year. So they're going to be ready to attack. And if they're producing, it puts you in more hot water. So you just have to be able to stay poised, stay under control. You got to hit shots. You got to play defense. And that's the one key thing. When some things are falling apart on offense in basketball, I can say this: your defense cannot fall apart. It has to be your equalizer. We're not scoring, you're not scoring. And then we got to figure out how to score and then stop them one more time to win that game. So I think that's kind of what you look at. And sometimes it has to do with conditioning. Maybe you start tiring out a little bit longer, and that's why you sub. And I've always said these coaches that don't, and I'm not saying this is Lansdowne. All right, so before somebody else gets crazy comments, if you're a coach that doesn't play a lot of players during the year, and all of a sudden come playoff time, you need players for whatever reason, foul out, injury, somebody got sick, whatever, and you can't go in deep into your bench, well, that's on you. You can't blame the kids. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that. That's why I like to play a lot of kids, have a 10-man rotation. So when we go into playoffs, we'll be ready if I got to go to that 9th, 10th game.
But I think it's more a matter of what Petersburg and Manchester did than what Lansdowne didn't do so much in those games, because we always look when a team loses, we always say it's now, I mean, I know you've talked about, and again, this is no discredit to Warhill in your matchup, what your group didn't do, because that's how you look at it as a coach of your team. But anywho, let's get to some of the brackets, because we have some guests coming on. We want to go through as much of this as we can. Also touch on a little bit of college basketball today, too. Miami of Ohio is still unbeaten, Ed. They rallied to beat the Western Michigan Broncos. Yeah, those bucking Broncos. See what I did there? I said bucking with a B. 69-67 on Friday night to extend their win streak to 29-0. And they could get left home if they don't win the MAC championship, which is also crazy. But where do you want to begin? We have VHSL boys, region, state tournament games coming up, girls, VISAA championship games coming up today. What do you want to start things off with?
Oh boy, you put me on the spot, but I don't mind. I like being on that spot. I know everybody's probably a little bit more anxious based on comments, especially stuff I get. See what the boys are what's going on with the boys. Why don't we tease them and go with the girls first?
All right, girls, you want to go with the VISAA today, the championship games, or do you?
Yeah,
want to begin
we got to do that
VHSL?
because I've been. This is one thing I have to agree where I screwed up, but I always throw it because it's Hatfield's fault. I've had some people say, hey, you don't do a whole lot about private schools. What's going on? So let's do private schools.
All right. Ed said, let's do the private schools to start things off. So we will share the brackets from the VISAA website. Let's hope I got the girls up right first. If not, we're gonna correct it here. I'm gonna find out in a moment. Oh, that's the boys by my mistake. Let's try this again. Take two, as they say, here on Cova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk. Interact with us, like, share, and subscribe, as we're gonna now put it back up. And I think I've got the girls. I'm gonna hope I have the girls now. We're gonna check it just to be sure. That doesn't look like the girls' bracket. For some reason, we're having trouble with that. I keep punching up the boys' bracket by mistake. So we will do this. We will find the girls' bracket. There we go. We have it now. So we're going to put it up on the screen. So apologies about that, as it'll be here with us in one moment. Just trying to make sure we got it situated. That is the girls' bracket, I do believe. It is. All right, here we go. You got this on the screen, Ed. We're going to zoom in for you. You have in Division I girls, Bishop Ireton, Paul VI. Bishop Ireton, a 63-39 winner over Stab. Paul VI takes out Catholics 70-62. Really good run for Catholics gals. Bishop Ireton, Paul VI. They've met before. I'm leaning with Ireton as the 1 seed in that one. Meanwhile, Division II on the girls' side, Virginia Academy over Miller School 44-33. They'll take on Stewart, who outlasted Norfolk Christian 70-67. I'm not as convinced in that one. I think Stewart can score more, so I might go with the 2 seed there. What about you?
Yeah, I like 2 seed on that one. And you're picking in the other one. You had Bishop Ireton over Paul VI. I'm going to go Paul VI.
Okay, you're going to go PVI. Division III today, 6 o'clock at Stewart School, Carlisle and Chelsea Academy. Carlisle took out Portsmouth Christian, who beat New Covenant in the quarterfinal round. Chelsea defeats Grove Christian 50-45. I'm going with Carlisle in this one. I think they just have too much weaponry for the girls in Division III. In Division IV, it's Brunswick Academy and Christ Chapel. Brunswick a winner 58-31. And Christ Chapel over Fuqua, 38-12. Talk about some defense from Christ Chapel, Ed. They held Tidewater Academy to 15, Fuqua to 12. Can they stymie Brunswick Academy and keep them under 20 or 30? That's the big question. We shall see.
I'm going with them.
You are going with them. All right.
I'm going with Christ.
Brunswick Academy. We'll see who is right and who is wrong on that one as we now move it over to the VHSL and the girls here as we will take a look at the region results for the ladies beginning in Class 6, Region A down to Region D as we put that now up on the screen, and we'll zoom in for all of you out there here on Cova Sports TV at 757 Sports Talk with the coach Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. Interact with us whether you're watching on IG, Facebook, Twitter, Virginia Preps, YouTube, you name it. Cova Sports TV is our YouTube channel. If you got any questions or comments, let us know, including when we'll want to hear from you. Who do you have winning state championships in March? Let us know. Girls and boys, the bracket's pretty much just about set as we're going through them now here. All right, Manchester girls who lost last year in the finals to Osborne Park. You remember it because we called it on the NFHS network. It was a championship victory for Osborne Park and Chrissy Kelly's team, 60-48. Manchester beats Byrd 45-35 after Byrd took out Thomas Dale. That was the slight surprise there. We know Chevette Walrus got a good team. They've been to the state championship game before against Princess Anne, most notably. But now moving in from 5C to 6A, they take out Dale in the second round. We thought we'd get a Dale Manchester Chapter 2, if you will. Didn't happen. Lancetown, Grassfield, they get done early. And Manchester girls under Coach Rasheed Wright, former ODU great, moving on to states yet again with the region championship. Osborne Park, they're still moving on too. Defending champs 48-45 over Gainesville. Pretty good showing by Gainesville to get this far as they took out Battlefield in the second round pretty convincingly. So again, I think good efforts from the teams that finished runner-up here and Byrd and Gainesville to get this far. They're going on to state still despite the outcomes.
Yeah, I think to look at both of these teams, I don't think they put a little bit of points on the board, but the defense. I mean, look at points given up just in this here, especially Gainesville giving up what 26 and 36. So
yeah.
These two teams are going to play some defense, but they can't put points on the board.
Occoquan Region 6C, you see South County took out Robinson 68-37. West Potomac over Hatfield. They'll play in the championship. It's not today. We have to re-update that. It was moved from Friday to Saturday. So it's actually, it's not yesterday. It's today, that championship. But South County's been rolling. I think they've won 26 in a row, have the South County girls. They've been on a hot streak. And Oakton, I know you're going with your man, Freddie Priester. He lost by a whisker, had an 8-point lead at the half. Centerville beats them 50-49. They are still moving on to states as your bracket is now set for Class 6 just about. You see it on the screen there for girls. Class 6 state tournament, Osborne Park hosts LC Byrd. You have Manchester hosting Gainesville. They could meet in the final yet again at VCU. And then in the middle there are some capable teams like South County, like Oakton. Oh, by the way, they could meet in the quarterfinals there. What do you think? You say you took Oakton a week or so ago. You sticking with that, or are you changing your mind here?
My eyes are looking hard at Manchester. It just seems they're on like an avalanche coming down. I don't know if anybody can stop them. But like I said, Gainesville it can stop some people too. I'm kind of looking at Oakton and maybe Manchester.
Girls Region 5A, Princess Anne's Lady Cavaliers led by Coach Darnell Dozier. They're marching on to the state playoffs yet again after yet another region championship for Coach Dozier. His team gets it done. Another great game from Micah Ojo, Tristan Rickenbacher. That whole group prevails over Deep Creek, which took out Salem in the semifinal round. 73-41, PA's Lady Cavaliers are unbeaten. And here are some of the numbers on Darnell Dozier. It's amazing, Ed, what he has done there. 25-0. They've won 68 consecutive games. It's their 22nd regional title, their 9th straight, and 18th in the past 20 seasons as he's closing in on 800 career wins over there at Princess Anne. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Again, we've always fun. It's like a video game stats with Dozier. When this is all said and done, I can see his face on the cover of a video game for high school girls basketball. I think he would deserve that.
Okay. Video game. I see. And then the other girls team that's been in the limelight. Well, there's another girls team in the 757 that's been in the limelight in the statewide news, which we'll get to here in just a moment when we get to Class 4. But you have Menchville's girls, Adrian Webb's Monarchs, led by Maddie Leach, who's headed to James Madison University. They take down Kings Fork in what was a defensive battle, 52-35. Good effort from them as they get it done in that one by 17 points. Didn't have as much of the offensive punch in this game, but certainly 17 points from Leach, also 16 from Nevaeh Reed helped them. Riley Height had 16 in defeat for Kings Fork as they're still moving on to the state quarters, and they'll see Princess Anne. Glen Allen loses to William Fleming 53-33. Fleming was mighty eye-opening in that quarterfinal game against Albemarle, and then Stonebridge slips by Massaponax 53-50. So it leaves us with a final 8 of PA Kings Fork, Fleming Massaponax, Menchville hosting Deep Creek, and Stonebridge Glen Allen. Anyway, we don't get Menchville, PA coming up on March the 12th, 6 o'clock at VCU.
I'm going to go out on the proverbial limb.
It ain't no limb. It's no limb.
It's going to be PA in Menchville. No disrespect for all these other teams. And I don't want to say they have no chance because you get this far, you do. But PA and Menchville, if you're hoping they slip up against you, you better hope for something else. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to outright beat them.
This is where we pause because you see the Class 4 girls bracket for the states, and you say, well, we have teams set except Region A. We have 3 teams possibly alive. How is that possible? Well, if you haven't heard, if you've been living in a cave, not been following the news cycle or been reading social media and the websites and all that's going on, Manor High School was basically knocked out of the playoffs, not by losing a game, but because of an ineligible player. And it was basically a clerical error, a paperwork snafu, if you will. Basically, at the feet of the athletic director, Jamal Felton, failed to submit paperwork in the district for a waiver to allow one of their players, an in-season transfer, to compete in the postseason. And thus, their win over Gloucester was forfeited. Gloucester gets moved back into the postseason. Now, here's the first mistake that was made. Once that happened, nothing against the Gloucester girls who lost. What would have been the thing to do, in my opinion, not to play that semifinal game, just give War Hill the spot in the championship game because the team got knocked out. It's almost like a forfeit on. So now, as Friday approaches for the doubleheader, sellout at Hampton High School, and I feel for our guy Justin Vias, by the way, at Hampton. He's the one having to deal with all these tickets and refunds. Does a great job over there. They got a double dip, Hampton boys against Denby. After the Hampton girls take on War Hill, Hampton girls under Shonda Bailey. They've been in the championship hunt for years now. They won one a couple years back. They're going to be taking on, they thought when the tournament started, probably Manor if they got by Grafton, which they did, the top seed in the second round. But instead, their game gets delayed. It gets postponed. Why? Because parents raise Cain, as they should. It feels like it's an injustice to these girls at Manor who have worked so hard, blood, sweat, and tears, Ed, to be in the playoffs. But now they go to courts, and Judge Brenda Spry of the 3rd Judicial Court of Virginia in Portsmouth has granted a temporary injunction. We're going to halt everything. So while a wrongdoing was done to these girls, and it was for the Manor girls, because of an administrator failing to do his or her job, his job properly, now we're going to penalize not just the Hampton girls, the War Hill girls, but let's put it back on the screen here, Ed. The Region 4B girls, Henrico Hanover. How are we penalizing them? Well, because we're going to halt the state tournament because this matters so much to go into courts. This is anarchy to me. What are we doing? Have we lost our minds? You can't delay the tournament and play. Go to court Monday morning, play a game Monday night. You have the state quarter starting on Tuesday. When's the regional championship going to take place? This is asinine. And now we're just going to overthrow rules because we go to the courts. Anything that happens wrong with eligibility, it's sad. I feel bad for the Manor girls, but now we're penalizing girls from 4 teams. What on earth are we doing? They need to get this out of Portsmouth. And if I'm Warhill and Hampton, I'm going to the courts and suing. This is a joke and a debacle, and it makes this whole system, and the VHSL is almost powerless when this happens. It's a joke. My rant's done. Go ahead.
I'm glad you're doing the rant on this one instead of me. I understand where you're coming from, and we're honest. First and foremost, Manor girls have had a tremendous season, and they're rolling. They're number one for the longest time.
Sure.
Okay, as you mentioned, some paperwork wasn't done right. According to VHSL, certain paperwork has to be turned in. Now, paperwork for making the player eligible in the regular season was done correctly. Here's where I get a little crazy. Well, what paperwork is needed for the playoffs? Should it be the same? So now my rant goes towards VHSL. Why are you making them do more paperwork? Let's streamline it. And it gets back to even something I've ranted before in the past: transfers.
Right.
The VHSL has rules. If you want to be in the VHSL, you follow their rules. That's simple, and that's right. There's a lot of rules I don't like, but I'm coaching a team, Smithfield High School, that's in the VHSL. I got to follow rules, period. That's what you do. So, and they got to put more teeth in it. Maybe this is the way they're trying to do it.
By the way, I need a drink. Go ahead. I need a drink. Go ahead.
So anyways, we get to this point where, as you mentioned, and I've heard it from some real reliable sources.
Well, let me stop right there. For those wondering, Roger Smith was supposed to come on the show today. You and him were talking all week. In fact, I saw Roger. Here's what's crazy. I saw Roger, was it last week? I saw him somewhere recently. It was I think at Hampton during your games. Anyways, saw him somewhere. And it all runs together in my head. And I said, hey, we got to get you on because I thought it was an injustice to his girls that got screwed over in the all-district meeting. You saw he put that up on Facebook and very upset about it. And this happens all the time about the district thing. You know that. But he's not going to come on now because of obviously what's going in front of the courts. He doesn't want anything to be recorded. So from an understandable perspective, we get it. And he'll come on, I'm sure, when he's allowed to come on and speak about this.
Well, that's the other thing. We're trying to give a product here of information out and try to keep everybody, because there's so many different things going on. Sure. It's a joke. But I understand that people involved cannot come out because now it's under court order. Right. You can't really come out and talk. And we respect all that. Okay. We understand that. And we'll go by that. Even on the VHSL part, we're not going to get anybody from the courts because the courts are ruling from strictly, is this lawful or not? And to me, to the courts, I know you're ran at the courts. I say to the courts, if the VHSL is an organized group that has rules, to me, you go to the VHSL and say, let me see why you made this ruling. Oh, okay. Right. It's black and white. It's good. And then that's it. Now, that's not going to be good enough for Manor, because here's how I look at it. If there's a particular person ineligible, then that person is removed and the team moves on, because you're penalizing a bunch of innocent people.
I'm with you on that. But rules are rules. And real quick before you continue on, this happened in football just 2 years ago with Hatfield. This just happened. Remember, they went to the courts. They get taken out of the playoffs by the VHSL. They get put back in the playoffs, and then the judge, more information and evidence comes before him, and it's like, oh, yeah, athletic director sending text messages and stuff. We can't have this, and they get booted out. So that was what was a wild yo-yo effect, and now it's happening again now. For this to happen, I just don't know what on earth we're going to do because, again, real quickly before you continue on, the bracket shows this, and you can't just boot Warhill girls out. They haven't lost. So if that ever happens, which seems impossible, now you've done a big injustice. Do I think Manor wins? Yes. Do I think Manor beats Hampton? Probably. Not certain, but probably, okay? Manor's talented enough, good enough, deserving enough to win a state championship. But again, if someone broke the rules and they're a part of that school, I don't like it, but they got booted out, and to me, they got to sit. I hate that, but I just don't know how you get these games in, and you can't delay the rest of the tournament just for the sake of one team here. This becomes, a farce, doesn't it?
Well, again, there's layers to this, and like I said, and I've seen where people have written some stuff. I've been following it, and I've had people texting me and asking me, because I guess I'm old and I'm supposed to know all this. Yeah. Why, if a person's ineligible, it can't just be the ineligible person? And a lot of times people think on forfeits and whatever, oh, they brought in some ringer who wasn't eligible, and they averaged 28 points a game.
This
and
girl
blah, blah,
hardly
blah.
played, by the way. Hardly
Right.
played. Yeah.
Right. And again, people, and this is why I don't like talking about things I don't know, because I was taught a long time ago. If you don't know what you're talking about, a certain subject, keep your mouth shut, because you'll show ignorance. That's why I kind of tiptoe through certain things I don't know until I get facts from. And if we can't get the people involved from it, we can't get the facts. So now we want to try to speculate. And all I'm saying is the VHSL rules. I'm going to look at VHSL and say, let's clear cut your rules, your paperwork, and then put your teeth. And I've said this for years, so nobody can get on me. There's too much transferring going on, and I'm not throwing a knife at Manor. That needs to be cleared up, and it hasn't been. And it's been let go, and it's gotten out of hand. And now everybody is going berserk because look at this ruling. And the courts now step in. And I say to the courts, when you get involved in this kind of stuff, go to the source, which is the VHSL. Why are you making this ruling? Let me see what your stuff is. Now, if the courts say to VHSL, wait a minute, this is not right. You're going to have to change all of this because it's going to hurt too many, an example manner, it's going to hurt too many people that are innocent. So you're going to have to change this around. Well, you can't do it right in the middle of a tournament where a team was brought back to play and now a team goes on and now they're going to have to play another game. And how soon you got to play it because you've got a team waiting and then you've got a whole bracket waiting. So, I mean, courts, you can't just jump in and do this, but they act from a situation of lawfulness. Was this law or not? And by the way, to my understanding, it was the Manor parents that brought this court thing, not Manor High School, not Portsmouth School District.
Portsmouth Public Schools is the one standing on the thing about this. That's a great point by you. Excellent point.
Right. So so it's just, like I said, so many layers here. And the bottom line is those other girls, coaching staff, whatever, get penalized. Because
listen, my heart aches for them, just like the Hatfield football team a couple of years ago, Ed. But again, it's a rules is the rules thing. And people are chiming in about Petersburg, which, by the way, real quickly, the transfer portal is way out of control. You're dead right here, A-Dub. Petersburg had a player last night. To my knowledge, he was in street clothes. I won't say the name. I don't want to get, anyway, he's a pretty big guy. He's not the McDonald's All-American, but a big guy who's been, just like with this whole new rule that was passed. Remember, last summer, you and others were like, is it going to matter? The in-season transfer, postseason play rule, 28A 7-1. You know the rule, but like the back of your hand, you can recite it, Ed. Passed last summer, meaning it prohibits a varsity eligible player transferring in season from competing in postseason without a waiver, which means they can play regular season, but if they don't have that waiver on file, boom, you can't play in the playoffs. Hold on, you're shaking your hands for a second. Well, hold on, let me finish real quick.
Okay,
go ahead. He isn't playing in the playoffs. If Manor has this overturning to play, can that guy go play in a state tournament for Class 3? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
It's going to open up another can of worms. And here's my comment. Wait a minute. So somebody can be eligible regular season. Okay, we're going to give you our blessing. You're good.
Right.
But we need paperwork on you for postseason. What changed? What do you mean we need paperwork?
What are we doing here?
It doesn't make any sense. Either you're eligible once you come in right through, or you're not. And I'm just, this is why I look at my friends at VHSL. Come on, people, let's get this, let's streamline this.
You're going after this. I don't think this, listen, there are some rules that are a little dicey here, but now we're wanting to strip them of power. If we go to the courts, then what legs do they have to stand on is what I'm getting at. I'm actually trying to defend them in this sense.
Yes.
If we go to the courts now, it means any Tom, Dick, and Harry or Amy, Betsy, Riley, whatever names, I'm just making up names here, can go to the courts and say, I don't like it that my gal or my son can't play. I'm going to sue you. And like I said earlier, if I'm Warhill and Hampton, I'm saying, hold on now. This is an injustice to us, and you might be making their girls have to play 2 or 3 games in consecutive days. This whole thing just becomes so murky, and it's got a bad feel to it, unfortunately. These games should just be played. We shouldn't have – and again, it's nice to say that Manor belongs here, and they do. They do, but again, somebody broke the rule. You have to suffer consequences when that happens. You almost can't say, well, we're going to change it now midstream here. It just doesn't work that way to me.
Let me say this too, because I see where all the knives now are being redirected for some Manor AD for not getting paperwork done.
Sure.
And I'm not saying, he's sitting around saying, I ain't doing the paperwork. Forget it. No, it could be, oh my God, I got to get this paperwork.
I think it was an innocent mistake on his part. Yes.
We're going to say, well, you should know that as AD. Come on. There's a lot of things we all should know when we screw up. in anything in facet of life. So come on now, even some of the most smartest people. So my thing is, that's why I say VHSL, and I'm trying to protect VHSL too, because it's a group. You have rules. You got to abide by them. That's just the bottom line. But I think we need some things that need to be fixed. Look at the NCAA. They have become somewhat powerless because the courts say, hey, you can't have a kid sit out. Hey, these kids deserve money. Okay. So now college sports, especially basketball, football, ridiculous. You got kids playing at a different school every year, 5, 6 years in college. Out of hand. You got kids making $2, $3, $4 million, not 20 years old, 21 years old, with agents and whatever. For what? Just because they're coming out of high school and they were good in high school. What happened to getting your education and getting a degree to get a good job eventually if you're not a pro athlete? Out of hand, and now it's seeping a little bit, maybe a little bit to the high school level, maybe a different way here. And it's very, and people say, well, why are you so worried? It's wrong. Yes. What's going on is wrong to the man or girls, even the athletic director on the snafu with paperwork. Here comes the VHSL trying to defend what they're doing. They're trying to run a great big organization. You got the court saying, whoa. Okay, all we're worried about is legal. Is this legal? And if it isn't, that's how we're ruling. And I understand that part too, but it's gotten out of hand and it's ridiculous because now it's holding up a state tournament. And when they, the other thing that people are asking us, okay, well, let's say the courts say you have to reinstate, they're going to play. So now what happens?
You play Monday night. So go to the bracket real quick.
Monday night, how would that work? Yeah.
Let's go to the bracket for a second here. So you got, that's the boys' bracket here. Let's go to page 11, I think it is. Here we go. So you saw it, forfeit loss. They beat them 88-20, which is crazy. Then Gloucester gets back in the tournament, loses to War Hill by 25. Think about that. You're Gloucester's coach. You think your season's over at 8-15. Oh, by the way, you're going to play coming up in the semis. Hampton beats Grafton. A little bit of an upset there to some, not to us. Then you got Hampton War Hill scheduled, and then basically it's a change now. It's in a holding pattern. But again, to go back to that other bracket we had here, the state quarterfinals are slated to start on Tuesday. Your finals are on March the 14th. Thankfully, it's that Saturday. But you have a situation where it could delay the quarterfinal games to being Wednesday or Thursday. Remember, the state semi games are on at Friday. So if you have the B teams and the A teams play on Wednesday or Thursday just to get this A championship done, now you're starting to penalize the rest time for Henrico and Hanover to see Salem or Woodgrove, Heritage Leesburg, or Charlottesville. This is just wrong on so many levels. And I know Portsmouth is going to go before the courts here. This is bigger than Portsmouth. This is an entire state tournament. And I do feel it's wrong for those men or girls. But again, an ineligible player played. That's the bottom line. Whether it's unfair or it feels wrong, she played in the game in the quarters. Thus, it's a forfeit. I just don't know. To me, it's black and white here. I know it's some people see shades of gray. I think it's cut and dry yet. I hate to say that. And it's sad because I think Manor Girls had a great chance. I know you picked them to win a state championship. I get that. It's awful for them. But again, it happened. We can't go back and change it or fix it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's you are holding up other people as to, coaches have to plan for certain teams. Now you got to hurry up and flip it quick. If let's say Manor and jumps in and plays War Hill, whoever wins, probably Tuesday, you got Hampton and them, Hampton taking on the winner. And then you got get ready for the semifinal. No. Quarterfinals.
That's what I'm saying. Look at this. The quarters is Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right. Quarterfinal, because now you got here comes Hanover. It's just crazy, but that's where we are. That's the facts. And by the way, I had somebody just text me now. It doesn't. The girl hardly played or didn't score. My people, it doesn't matter if they average 92 a game or they don't score a point a game. They played 1 second a game or the whole game. That's immaterial. Get that out of there.
I don't like it, but the bottom line to me on this is this part of it. Ed, if you play that on Tuesday, then you delay the quarterfinals to Wednesday. Again, you set a bad precedent. If you let them, not so much that girl come back and play, it means anybody who then breaks a rule can try to overthrow the system with that rule. And now you're stripping an organization in the VHSL from its rules. I don't see how this, again, if it stays in Portsmouth, maybe it does get overturned, but it's a very, very bizarre situation. We haven't seen it before, and I'm not sure anybody in the VHSL offices or us covering sports in the state that we've seen anything like this, because Hatfield was a little bit different. It had some similarities to it with going to, before the courts and the legal system being involved, but this is a very unique and strange circumstance. And at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the kids in this, and I feel like, it hurts the men or girls that an adult made a mistake, you messed up here. But now I feel like you're then penalizing more girls from this if you put them back in the tournament. Or here's the worst part. If you were to knock out War Hill and you go to say, well, because the seeding's done, if that rule gets happened where they say it's going to be down to the top 2 seeds, now you've made a big mistake to me, because now you've knocked out a team who hasn't lost. Then you got a problem. You got a big problem. So we'll take a timeout. Go ahead. Final words.
One thing here, I know we're really going heavy on this, but all we're trying to do is put it out there somewhat the right way, because there's been so many different directions this is going.
Sure.
If you simply say, because of time, hey, Manor has a better seed, War Hill, we're sorry, we know you didn't lose any game, but we're going to take you out of the tournament. Now, you're right. What happens when the War Hill parents decide to go to court? Here we go again.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I wish this would have never happened.
Agreed.
And everybody wishes it never would have happened. And I'm not, and let's make a clarification here for us. We're not saying this person fault, that person fault. We're knowing where the blame is going. Everybody has said that so far. But It's not so much like, well, I don't want to do it. No, whatever, slip up or whatever.
It wasn't done with malice or intent, the mistake, but It was just a mistake. It was an innocent.
What we're coming across as saying as it hurts a whole group of people that did nothing wrong. And they're penalized.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what the courts are looking at. And we just want to see the thing fixed, because here comes our state tournament. Everybody's excited. This is what you work for to get there. And not to lose it on the court is hard to take, and that may happen. So I know we probably went long on this, people. We're hoping we got the information out there the right way. Remember, all those involved can't speak right now because they can't. We understand.
Basically muzzled right now. Well, here's the thing: the Class 4 girls tournament might not finish till April, so stay tuned.
Yeah, let's see what happens. We got to get back on and let everybody know about what else is going on.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick time out and recalibrate, get ourselves situated here. We got more coming your way. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back in just a bit after this quick commercial break right here on Cova Sports TV.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Okay, here with Lake Taylor head basketball coach Derek Yogi Edwards. His Titans going back to the state tournament for the third time in 4 years. They defeat Colonial Heights 62-29. Coach, this was a breeze for you tonight. I know it's never that easy, but your defense was locked in. You hold them to a season-low points. You got to be proud of how you guys defended for 32 minutes.
Yeah, I think we played well. I think our defense was right on today. Mark Johnson was all over the place today.
Yeah. 7 steals from him. I think he had 6 in the first quarter alone. Did you know coming into their top scorer, number 22, Cameron Hartzell, was out, and that also get your guys the ability to sense that they were kind of panicky early on in the game?
Yeah, we found out like 30 minutes before the game that he was out. I feel bad for him to being out. It's a regional game. I know he wanted to play. I feel sorry for him.
But your kids kind of smell that blood in the water, don't they? When they have an opportunity to balance, they generally seize it, do they not?
Yeah, they like I said, our defense been playing well. We had some slip ups, 4 game slip ups, but our defense is playing well.
How much, I see him in the back of there, Kenny Brown, the former coach who you filled in for, I should say took over for after he left. Do you hear all about that? And you were on that championship run as assistant coach with DB, Darion, Steve, Ron, Joe, Bryant, Joe, and Jordan at Defense Wins Championships. Has that been the message here this month?
Yeah, since we've been here, I've been all about defense. Back then, it was about defense. It's still about defense now.
Certainly, Jamari Edwards, you got bloodlines there. He's been shooting the ball with a lot of confidence second half of the season. Is he setting the tone for your offense this time of year?
Yeah, he playing like a senior. He don't want to go home. He don't want it to be his last game. You know, I've been coaching him since 6 years old, so he don't want our relationship as coach-player relationship.
Hey, listen, I know he's got love for you because you're family, but I even noticed when you call him over to the bench a couple times, he's looking to your assistant coaches like Tyrone Matthews and Brett Jones, Reggie McMillan to give him some words because he's tired of hearing your voice a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, he actually is tired of hearing me. Sometimes on the ride home, I can't even talk to him how I want to because he's tired of hearing me.
Certainly, as you guys move forward in the state tournament, he's going to be important. All these guys are, but Jakari Jones inside as that paint presence rebounder, how much is he going to be a factor for you guys to keep advancing?
Yeah, like I told Jamar, when we went to the state 2 years ago, they was kind of role players. Now, for them to take their team to the state, that's big for them too. So we don't need both of them to really be playing well.
And they were part of that state run a couple years ago. What do you think and hope they all learn from that, the ones that were part of that championship quest?
Well, they was at VCU. We lost and was crying, so they know what's expectations for us now.
Lastly, you know what stands in front of you? Big opponent and big goals here moving forward. What's it going to take for Lake Taylor to be cutting down the nets? I know you don't cut down nets anymore, but for you guys to come back here and have a celebration like the football team had in December to do the ultimate.
Yeah, we just want to take it one game at a time, and I know everybody talking about Petersburg. We get our chance. We'll see what we see.
And you might see more than once. Congratulations on the win, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that was Derek Yogi Edwards of the Lake Taylor Titans. His team victorious over Colonial Heights. Then they took the L against Petersburg in the Region 3A Championship. It's 757 Sports Talk, brought to you by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Ed, as we put it back up on the screen, we take a little shift to the boys' side. We talked about the girls a lot here earlier in the show. We'll get back to some more girls' brackets as well as the boys' brackets too throughout the morning, but we'll give you a quick picture of the Region 3A bracket here for a moment before we have Sherman Rivers join us in here from Patriot in about 10 minutes or so. That was the first round. You see Heritage took down Norcom in overtime, Lakeland over Booker T. Then we got to the final 8 where New Kent slipped by Heritage from your district. New Kent then got it handed to him by Petersburg. Cam Claiborne shot the ball well for Petersburg, one of the guards that came over from John Marshall. And, of course, LaShaw Allman, the McDonald's All-American who signed with Oklahoma State. He's arguably as good a player as any in the entire state, regardless of classification. Titans rolled past Lakeland and Colonial Heights. And as we look at the bracket here for a second, these two could see each other again. Titans fell short by 13 in the region final, but there's the Class 3 bracket. I think we might see a rematch of Lake Taylor and Petersburg on Saturday night to close things out on March the 14th. What says you?
I'm looking on there. I don't see Petersburg.
Oh, that's the girls' bracket. That's why you don't see them. My apologies. That's why you don't see them. That's the girls' bracket. Here we go. There's the boys' bracket. That's why there you go. 6:30 Saturday night. Now do you see Petersburg? You see them, don't you?
All right. I see Petersburg coming out on the top. And I think Lake Taylor can do this. We might be able to see those guys play in the final. Liberty Christian, makes to see what they have overall. Liberty Christian would be like Taylor's potential.
Let's go to what happened in other regions for a second. So Region 3B, it was Meridian, Jim Smith's team, falling to Skyline. Third meeting between those two, they split regular season. Skyline took care of Meridian 44-37 after they both won. Skyline, I had that backwards. There was a Fauquier Skyline, so apologies about that. We'll get that fixed later on. But then you see the final for 3C. Wilson Memorial was on a hot streak. He had 21 straight wins. Jeremy Hartman's Green Hornets then fall to LCA, who had to beat Rustburg in overtime in the first round. Turner Ashby by 2. Game winner from Josiah J. Bryant, who's going to Randolph Macon. Then they pile up 88, and they beat Western Albemarle for the second time in 3 meetings. So Western, coached by Darren Maynard, brother of Albemarle's Greg Maynard, the Maynard brothers, they're going to states, but Western now as the runner-up, and I think them being on the other side of the bracket might be to Lake Taylor's benefit, not having to see them on the road potentially in a semifinal. They do have to go on the road to play Skyline, who they've lost to before in a state playoff, but then they might have to go, if they win that game, to see, dare we say, Liberty Christian.
Yeah, that top bracket, me personally, I'd like to see Western Albemarle Petersburg match up in the final. I mean, on their side.
But remember, if that happens, Petersburg would host it because they're a 1 seed. So Petersburg right now would not host Hidden Valley or Christiansburg, but they would host Western Albemarle.
Okay, right. Because if your 2 number ones meet, it's the top seed, which right. Gets the home court on that. Yes. But it'll be interesting. But I'm Liberty is right now playoff, hot as anybody, based on how they won. They had to win an overtime game against a team that had a losing record. Beat a pretty good Turner Ashby team, 20-win team, and then really put up the points against a really good Wilson Memorial. So maybe Liberty Christian's that really hot team right now. Of course, we're not even talking about, Christiansburg, Hidden Valley.
Speaking of Petersburg, their old school that they were at, the coach Ty White and some of the players, John Marshall, I should say, their quest for a 5-peat is over. They lost in overtime to Greensville. How about the Eagles, coached by Antoine Walton? AD, one of your good buddies, Randy Jesse, former AD at Kings Fork. They were celebrating with that comeback from 13 down, but then not too much celebrating on Friday night, as it was Kendrick Warren, the former VCU standout, his Vikings of Thomas Jefferson of Richmond, who knocked out Pocosin as well as Armstrong with the region championship. I'm blaming you for jinxing Jeremy Jordan and his Bull Islanders. They got the win before we talked to you, and then
you set the interview up. Not me.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault.
Jeremy actually told me. He said, "Coach, if I ever come on the show again, can you invite me instead of Matt?" I said, "Well,
look, TJ scores in the 70s, and they held him to 47. The problem was that pace TJ just had too many athletes for him. It was all said and done. But Region 2B today, final Strasburg and Central Woodstock. 2C. How about our guy Brian Harmon at Floyd County, one of the greatest guys in the world you'll ever meet. Nelson County got a really good team. They could see him again, but Floyd had the number of Nelson with those big boys inside, Colton Ward and Bryce Giles. Buffaloes win it. And he's got a lot of guys back for next year, does Coach Harmon. And then Grant Central Wise.
Before you scroll away, people, even though Nelson County was a 4C, they're not your typical normal 4.
We've got a number 1 in the state in Class 2. You're absolutely right. And we had Floyd County, I believe, preseason number 2. So this region, you had that crazy upset last week with Martinsville falling to Gretna. But in Liberty Bedford, the tragic loss of Coach McSweeney this year passing away. They were the 1 seed, had a heck of a year. But that region was pretty fierce. Might have been the most competitive of the 4. And then Union, the Bears got knocked out by Central Wise, Patrick Dameron's first year at the helm. How about this one for an upset, Ed? Your guy, Robin Dotson, is not back in it, the state tournament. He got beat, Central Wise girls, but the boys are moving on. That's a bit of an upset, bit of a surprise.
Robin Dotson is not in the states?
No.
That's unheard of.
We told you on the boys' side real quickly before we take a break, and we got Sherman Rivers coming on with us from the Patriot Pioneers. You see the brackets that are pretty much set across the board. Last year's champion, Class 6, South Lakes the last 2 years, they didn't qualify for regionals. Green Run is back in Class 5. They're going to host Nance River, although I'm hearing that game's going to be at Ocean Lakes High School. Class 4, the champ was Atlee. They won a playoff game over Chancellor, then lost to Cortland. Cortland's playing at Hampton. Varana's playing Denby. You see Hanley, Broad Run, Heritage, Leesburg, Easty Glass. The champ last year in Class 3, well, not back. Spotswood, your buddy Chad Edwards, 0-8 start. He won 12 of 15, but they got knocked out by Stanton in the first round. Class 2 champ the last 4 years, John Marshall. They lose in the semifinals. And you see Class 1, the champ last year, George Wythe, got knocked out by Perry McClure in the regional playoffs, and they had their best guy get hurt during the year, David Good. So only one boys champ from last year is returning to the state tournament. On the girls' side, the defending champ, Osborne Park in Class 6, they're back in it. The defending champ for the last, it seems like the last 25 years, but going for his 16th title. Yeah, his fourth hand of rings. Darnell Dozier's team's in it in Class 5. Heritage Leesburg in the championship round again, or I should say championship bracket again from the girls' side, just like the boys are, trying to repeat in Class 4. Now, last year, Ed, the Class 3 girls champ was actually won by Lord Botetourt. They did not get through. So they did not get through to the bracket here in Class 3 on the girls' side. You see the bracket there. Class 2, it was Central Wise against John Marshall. The last 2 years, Coach Dotson winning it. They didn't get through. John Marshall, though, is still in there trying to get it done, make it third time's a charm. And Class 1 on the girls' side, George Wythe is through. They'll be the region champ or runner-up from Region 1C. So 4 of your 6 girls champs back in states, only 1 of your 6 boys champs back in states. You surprised by that?
Yes and no. Yes, because you think they would be good enough. I look at like a Spotswood team with Chad Edwards. They lost a lot of good players. But Chad has a great program. There's a difference between a good team and a great program. And we all strive to have great programs. And if the kids follow in, you may not have the same talent every year, but you can compete, which they have done. At 0-8 started, and it was not easy with trying to get in a lot of new players. And they played some tough teams in that situation. We turned it around to win 12 of the last 15. Just wasn't enough to go move it on. And this happens a lot. That's why you look at things like what Princess Anne has done. You've got to have the horses to keep on going, to be there every year. I mean, what those people are doing, like a Darnell Dozier, 16 championships.
Yeah.
If you get one in your career, that's a heck of a career. 16? It's like I said, video game stuff.
Quick timeout. We'll come back with Sherman Rivers, head basketball coach of the Region 6B champion Patriot Pioneers. You're watching 757 Sports Talk with us right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in no phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV and interact with us wherever you are. We now have with us a special guest. He is the head basketball coach of the Patriot Pioneers in Nokesville, victorious on Friday night over the Gainesville Cardinals in the Region 6B championship. It's their 5th championship in a row as they took them out of the playoffs. Pretty wide margin. They had a closer championship matchup in the Cedar Run District Tournament, but on Friday night, 88-54. His team now 22-3 overall, getting ready to play host to Lansdowne in the state quarterfinals. We say hello and congrats to Coach Sherman Rivers. Coach, thanks for stopping by. Life treating you pretty well?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Morning, Sherman. Hey, just another walk in the park, huh?
Yeah. Well, our guys played well last night, so I was really proud of them.
Yeah, 88 points, and I want to touch on some of your players. I've watched you guys throughout the year on the NFHS and also in person against Lansdowne, ironically enough, earlier in the campaign. But for you here, is this year, was this 11, 12 for you at Patriot? You're now becoming a KG veteran, right?
This is year 10.
Okay, and this is your sixth trip to the state tournament in 10 seasons. And, of course, people know you from all over the state from your days as a player, a heck of a player at Potomac High School there in Dumfries, then went on to play in college at William & Mary. But tell me about this particular team. What makes them unique? You brought back some key pieces from last year's state quarterfinal run, but what do you like about this group as you go into this final eight now? You have a chance at this thing.
I really like the experience, I think, of this group. We've had some games in this playoff run that, we've been down. Even last night we were down the first quarter, and they don't blink. They've been playing basketball together for a long time, since they were little kids. So, and we got some very talented kids, especially on the offensive end for sure. Elijah Gaskins has been phenomenal in his career. Sean Madgill's having one of the best shooting years I've ever seen. Jeremiah Parrish is a matchup nightmare, and he's starting to come into his own as the season's ended, and been one of probably our best player throughout the playoff run, I think, consistently. Noah Conrad is just, a jack of all trades, able to do a lot of different things, guard different players, and do some different things offensively. And Christian Cole, he has the unfortunate part of being the underrated starter in our starting five, but he's just as good as the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Jeremiah Parrish, Coach, because I feel like he's the unsung hero of your group. We know about Gaskins being one of the best point guards in Virginia. Madrigal was lights out against Lansdowne with 9 threes, kept you in it, while Dame Robinson was having a great game, almost a triple-double that night for them with like 28 points, 12 boards, 7 assists. But when you have one of the best point guards, one of the best shooters in the state, you need those glue guys like the Coles and the Parishes. Tell me about just getting players, and I know Ed will be keen on this, being a basketball coach for many, many years like you. Getting those role players to accept their roles and not wanting to command, 15, 20 shots a game and do the little things, be it taking charge, accepting of those little things they have to do. How do you get them to buy in?
It's just constant conversations with them. The biggest thing is you have to be honest with kids and tell them where they are and, where they can get to. You don't want to be sitting around and have them guessing what their role is. I'm pretty straightforward with our kids. We meet a lot and talk a lot, even when it's not just a formal meeting, about what they need to do and how they can help the team, but also improve themselves to put themselves in position to do the things they want to do.
Ed?
Well, when I hear Sherman saying about the constant talk, it's about those relationships that they can buy in. Because you said if you don't really make them understand the role, they're going to probably play a role that's not well suited for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes they'll think, hey, I'm shooting it right. You're not even in the game at this point. And again, I think it's very good for coaches to sit down. I like to do a preseason, sit down with everybody, ask them, okay, what do you think you're going to give us? And then I tell them what I think. So when they go out the door, there's an understanding. Because if they're telling me they're going to be the best defensive player I've ever seen, okay, now we get in practice and they can't cover me. Now we got to either you lied or you don't work hard enough. Which one is it? Because we got to fix this if that's what you said you are. So I understand that when that rolls. The thing I like to ask coaches is when you get this far, is there somebody, I know you don't want to just pinpoint maybe a person, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Is there somebody that came through for you the beginning right now, that maybe at the beginning of the year, back in November, October, you really weren't sure where they would be or how they would help you. But now you're kind of thinking in the back of your mind, and this kid really kicked in to help us. Anybody that comes to mind for you for that?
I would say off the bench would be the kid Tim Odell for us. Tim is an unsung hero. He's not going to put up anything that's in the stat sheet for people to be wowed by, but he's one of our best defenders. He gets us extra possessions. He's just a real big hustle guy. We had a couple games earlier where Noah had to sit out with an injury, and in one of those games, I want to say he had 11 rebounds. So it's just having those guys be able to do those things. Like I said, we have some really talented players, especially on the offensive end, like I said, with the guys that you mentioned. But those glue guys are extremely important. He jumps to the top of the list for me as far as someone I would think of for that. Chris Bethel, a sophomore for us, who's Elijah's backup, has gotten better and better and better, and what you would expect from a young player as the season's gone along. He had 6 points, 4 assists last night. He's just been doing a really good job of being able to keep our momentum when we take out our starter. So
We're chatting with Sherman Rivers. He's the head basketball coach of the Patriot Pioneers, region champs yet again for the fifth consecutive year. They defeat Gainesville 88-54 at 757 Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. They'll be hosting Lansdowne coming up in the state quarters. Before we shift our attention to that matchup and the Class 6 bracket, I want to touch on this tournament for you because you had a lot of different guys step up. You mentioned the reserves there and unsung players to go with your headliners like Gaskins and Madrigal, but you were down in a couple of these playoff games, Coach. You were down, had a heck of a second half against Forest Park. Potomac, your alma mater, 68-62. I know you commented, and some others did too. It was one of the best high school basketball games they've ever seen, and you've played some classics, even going back to when Keith Honore was coaching before Anthony Mills took over. And a lot of people thought coming in, myself included, that Garfield had a real shot. They were 24-1, having a great year. They got knocked off by Independence. So I think Region 6B's had more intrigue to it this year than in past years. But everybody kind of has known for years here. It always feels like at some point Potomac and Patriot will collide, whether it's in the championship or the semis. This time it was in the semis.
yeah, it was. Clearly you have two of the best programs in the last 20 to 30 years in our county. And, there's going to be a point in the season where we're going to collide because, they're a very good program and we're doing the things that we're doing on our side. So, you would hope for their sake or our sake that it's in the regional championship because whoever the loser is still gets to advance. But the things fall how they fall, and we played them in the region semis this year, and we knew it was going to be tough. They came out, and I think that they played one of their best games of the year. Really shot the ball well. They're a tough physical team, and did some damage to us inside. And our guys, stayed resilient, didn't get down on themselves, and we were down majority of the game after the first quarter until the fourth, and then took the lead and just went from there.
Absolutely. And for you in those couple of comebacks, just a matter of the experience, having been there before, didn't flinch, wasn't worried at all. You knew how your team would respond in those moments being behind.
I'm confident in our group. We got guys that can put the ball in the hole, and you got guys that can score it. You're always going to be in the games. You got to get stops. Obviously, we know the playoffs is a different animal. Up until last night, I know we were averaging close to 80 during the regular season. Up until the game last night, we hadn't broke over 70, but we've been guarding. So if you can score it, and especially score it in bunches and get in bursts of those situations, getting stops, you always have a chance to come back. And that's why you do all that work in the regular season, because you can play at home in a comfortable environment that you're used to, and it's a little bit easier that way.
Absolutely. 3 wins away from a state championship. Patriot, who's been there a couple of times before, Ed, finishing runner-up to Hatfield and to South Lakes, trying to make it the third time the charm here with Sherman Rivers, our guest on Cova Sports TV.
Sherman, I'm going to kind of go back a little bit. You played at Potomac, Matt said, correct?
Correct.
Was that under Kendall Hayes?
Yes, sir.
Give me some stuff on Kendall Hayes. I remember Kendall from back in the day. Great coach, great player himself when he played. And I'm sure you picked up a lot of info from and some things maybe you do now from Kendall.
Oh, I mean, listen, that was the foundation of everything that I'm doing. Obviously I picked up some things here and there. Obviously Keith Honore had an impact on that as well. Some coaches that I had overseas and coaches in college, and you try to take little bits and pieces from each one. But I think the foundation of everything that I do and how I approach the game really comes from him. All-time great coach. I think the best coach that that I've ever had. Just had a way to motivate people. First of all, to guard. It was always, you started there on the defensive end, but even though people thought we weren't doing anything as far as having sets on the offensive end, everything had a purpose. Everybody had to run to a spot, and then he just let us have the freedom to play from there. And as long as we defended at a high rate, he was pretty cool with what we did on the offensive end. Stories wise, he's one of the funniest people I've ever been around. It's kind of like a dry sense of humor, but he's had some moments, and this is when I wasn't actually there for. But I think it's one of the funniest stories I ever heard. And I remember getting told the story when he was sitting there. They're at a team camp, and I guess the referees weren't in favor of him too much as he thought. And so he comes out of a timeout, He tells two players to go stand on the ref, and so two guys are just guarding the referee during the game. And the referee's confused, like, why are these kids following me around the court? Finally, he blows whistle. What are you doing? And and he asked the kids, and the kids said, "Well, our coach told us to guard the guy that was killing us the most." I'm telling you, that one. I remember when he told me the story. And he's sitting there. He's like, "Well, he was killing us, so we had to double team him." And he just said it so matter of fact. So it
That's
just
something.
those type of things. So
That's something Ed would do. Ed, one year, didn't you? You had a funny story. I remember with Mark Butts at team camp. Mark will come. I'm sure Mark is watching this. Former first Colonial coach in Virginia Wesleyan Hall of Fame will come on. You guys did something where you got ejected, or you did something with the referee. Oh, you shake your head now. You did something that was. It was Kendall Hayes esque.
Sherman, I got kicked out of a summer summer league game or team camp. A summer league game it was. Boo Williams Sportsplex, and the reason it was, referee made a call. Team scored on us. We took the ball out of bounds. We threw it inbounds. All of a sudden, the referee come running over. Hold on. I got a foul on red 23. I said, we just threw the ball in bounds. No, coach. It was on the previous play on the shot. I said, they made the shot. We took it out of bounds. What are you talking about?
I would have lost it too.
It was a young guy. He goes, Coach, you have to understand. We have to see a play all the way through before we make a call.
What?
I said, you couldn't have seen nothing on that situation, Tech. I said, you can't call Tech. That doesn't help you. I'm trying. This is a team camp. I'm trying to help you because the referee, supervisor officials were there. They were, evaluating officials. So I said, you delayed too long. We're not going to play. I'm not going to accept the technical. Second Tech, you're out. I said, I'm not going nowhere. It's a summer league game. Coach, you got to go. I said, I'm going to tell you one more time. I ain't going nowhere. And I didn't. So they walked off the court. So I grabbed the ball and I said to Mark Butts, first Colonial coach who were playing, I said, Mark, it's only about 2 minutes to go. Let's finish this up. Mark goes, Ed, I can't do this. And I'm like, all right, I'll referee myself. Now I got slides on and I'm at midcourt. I said, all right, inbound, let's go, let's play. And Boo Williams comes in and Boo's like, what's going on?
Boo's hysterical to this day about this story too, by the way.
And I said, Boo, officials left the court. So, I'm just going to go ahead and finish. I said, I can't do any worse. He said, Ed, no, we can't do this. Oh, my God. So we stopped the game. Now, here's the good part.
I can hear him saying that, too.
Sherman, here's the good part. Duke Edsel, who's a very good official, ACC guy, he was evaluating the officials. He come to me after the game. I said, Duke, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to play. He said, no, Ed, I'm coming down and telling you, you were right. You're 100% right. He made a bad call. He delayed it too long. The technicals were too quick, weren't needed. He said, I just wanted to see if you want to get a referee's license for 2 minutes. You're a pretty damn good official. I said, no, I don't want that headache. So that's awesome. I had, of course, you laughed as long as I have, and as Kendall did. You're going to have some stories and things that come up.
Right.
Like there was another time at a team camp, made another one. This was down, I think, in North Carolina State or somewhere. I said to an official, I said, hey, can you give coaches technicals for what they think about officials? He goes, Coach, I don't understand. What do you mean? What you think? No. I said, okay, good. I think you're doing a horrible job, and I don't know how the hell you got a license. And I got a text. I said, and the fact you lie. So, but, I just figured I was just trying to ask them. But I've been known to give some young officials in team camps some heat, especially when I know they're getting evaluated, because I'm trying to make the supervisors see what they do under a tough situation. You might get a coach like a Sherman Rivers type who's animated and going crazy. How are you going to take care of Sherman Rivers?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I can tell you, I'm over there doing a lot, and I know I am, but I have, good relationships with those guys for the most part, and obviously, it's just, I got questions or I got concerns, and I'm pretty animated about how I say them. So, I just think it's just being passionate about what you're doing. Really, that's what it comes down to. And that's, and your stories and Kendall Hayes' stories are just honesty, and that's what we talked about with the players and just living in that space and being real about what you're doing. Sometimes your emotions are going to come out and it's not always the best in other people's eyes, but it comes from a good place.
Well, I've always said if you're a coach that's into what you're doing and you care about the kids, emotion comes through. It's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to play.
Absolutely.
You just got to be careful how you channel it, where it goes. Like I tell young coaches, ain't no need to call referees names, cuss, swear, turn around, raise your hands to the crowd. None of that's coming down to you. Number one, know the rule book. Before you start complaining about calls, You better know
Absolutely.
the rule book, because if you
Hmm.
don't, the referee can easily say to you, until you're on my level in rules, don't talk to me. And he's right, because they
And
have to know the rule.
this is true, but some of them say that and be dead wrong with the rule, and I'm right.
Hey, Sherm, once again, I've quoted officials. I'll stand up and
Uh-huh.
yell at official. I said, come here. Rule 5, Article 4, Paragraph 7. Did you administer
Hmm.
that call that way? And a guy told me this honest truth. I had this guy later on in the game. He came to me before the game. He said, Coach, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know how you knew it, but that last time you told me that page number, the paragraph, and the article exactly, I don't know how you did. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't remember saying that, but I guess I did. Then I just looked at him and said, well, it's my job to get on you, but I got to know the rule book. But if I know it better than you, you should be blowing a whistle. I remember telling him that. And then from that point on, we had a total respect from there on, never had any issues in games or whatever, because they got a
Absolutely.
job to do, I got a job to do.
For
And
sure.
and that's it. Sherman, I'm going to bring this back to your situation again. If Matt allows me, we got the time with you.
We have time.
And
Unless
it's
he's got
kind of-
practice and he's got to run. We got time. So
yeah,
Oh,
we got.
I'm good.
And
I'm good for
and
now.
yeah, and I got to run pretty soon myself. But my thing, Sherman, when you, as a coach, Matt and I talked
Mhm.
about this earlier. You're doing your substitutions and all that during the year. What changes for you, if anything, when it comes to substitution in playoffs as you're moving along into the state tournament, in terms of playing your bench? Do you kind of shorten it? Do you go to somebody maybe you haven't played a lot? Maybe give them a few seconds early. How do you handle that when you get into your situations?
I mean, our rotation is pretty much our rotation. The difference in the playoffs and the regular season for me is really the fourth quarter. Um, the fourth quarter in the playoffs, you're going to see the main guys be on the floor, and we're probably going to use timeouts for rests at that point. Unless a situation provides sub where it's like foul trouble, or one of those guys off the bench is just playing really well. So like the other day, I brought up Tim Odell's name, and Noah had a couple things going on, and he was playing really well, so he played down the stretch of the game. And our guys understand that they got to be ready, regardless. I might throw a guy in early that you see something, and substitution is all about feel sometimes. You have a guy that might not have been playing as much, and he can provide you something or a spark in that moment. So you grab him, you put him in, and that's why we keep preaching to our kids every day. Like, you got to be ready all the time. You don't know when your number's gonna get called, even though it might not have been the last game, it might be this game. So that's usually how I look at it.
finishing up with Sherman Rivers. He's the head basketball coach of the Patriot Pioneers Region 6B champs. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe as they get ready to play host to the Lansdowne Eagles in the state quarterfinals, a rematch of last year's game they lost in the quarters, and also the Eagle Classic that they lost earlier during the regular season by a count of 70-62. We mentioned the great game from Madrigal with 27 points, 9 of 16 from three, and Dame Robinson having 28 points, 12 boards, 7 assists in that contest. And Coach Rivers, a guy we can claim from the 757 Ed, because he ended his college career with the green and gold of William & Mary with 925 points, 400 rebounds, 272 assists. He's in the record book there at William & Mary in some of those categories. But, Coach, as we look at this matchup now with Lansdowne, you know what a program Dwight Robinson has, built on defense, guard play, athleticism. You're getting him in your gym again. What do you hope your guys have learned from the previous encounters that they can apply and turn around and get the outcome that you're looking for?
Well, the quarterfinal matchup last year, our guys clearly, we had a good season at that point, won the district, won the region. But I think they weren't really ready for what that intensity was, and seeing the difference when the jump from playing, in your region against people that you've seen or might have seen you, to playing somebody from outside, especially 757 or Richmond area. So it was important for me to take this team and travel to different places this year so they could see it. And that way, if it presented itself again, which here we are, that it wasn't going to be such a big deal to them to be able to understand that they got to raise their level of intensity, but also realize there's a different level of physicality that comes with this game. So I think that we're going to be more prepared from a mental standpoint this time. Our guys are a year older, a lot more experience. I like the depth we have on this team as far as the guys that what they provide off the bench, and we just got to go and get it done. It's always great to be at home too.
One more before I let Ed jump in and finish with you, Coach. I got to be perfectly blunt and honest here with you. When I was looking at the brackets and we do predictions and project, I thought it would be Lansdowne and Westfield, other side of the bracket, duking it out potentially in the state semis. This is no knock to obviously a Manchester team that did a heck of a job to beat them, rallying from 14 down. Gainesville from your region, Edison or South County, or even George Marshall took Westfield to the wire, a team that's won 26 in a row. And I know you played earlier this season, but you duked them out in the quarterfinals now, Lansdowne, and your path was thinking you'd have that, but the past are the past. At this point, it's all about it's win or go home for these seniors and your kids that are trying to get some history, correct?
Yes, I mean you just like us. We clearly we look at it, we see how things are going to fall, and we were saying the same thing. We're like, well, if things go how we think they're going to go, Westfield and Lansdowne be on the other side of the bracket. And the other night we're sitting there and keeping updates of the game, and everybody's like, well, that changes that. And there was a brief segment like, oh, I can't believe it's the path, but the path is the path, and I always say this, you got to beat those teams at some point if you want to win the whole thing. So and rather get out of the way early and hopefully, get a chance to get to the last game. But we could sit here talking about, oh, we want to avoid this team and never even get a chance to play them, or we can get to that last game like we have 2 times and not play our best game in that situation. So it's one of those things. I know our kids will be motivated. Obviously, we played them early in the year and we lost that game, but they ended our season last year in the same situation. So
we've had most of the year Lansdowne, Westfield, Patriot in some order 1, 2, and 3. Ed, and you picked the Eagles last week to win the state championship, so it should be a heck of a battle coming up on Tuesday night, Coach Young.
Yeah, and of course, like I tell people, if you run your life by my picks, you need Jesus, because you it doesn't matter what I say. Heck, my team lost 12 games this year, so I try to pick us to win every game. But when you come into a situation like this, and I know you said that you're going to have to play these teams eventually somewhere, and of course, as coaches, we quietly say in the back of our mind, yeah, but I want to play the toughest team in the state championship, because that's where you want to meet. You want the better teams to go there, and this time of the year, who looks good is not always the best at this time of the year. It's getting hot at the right time. Just like the NCAA tournament, everybody wants to pick number 1, number 2, number 3, but maybe number 18 has been playing the hottest, and that's the team you got to look at. And you look at matchups. And when you look at Lansdowne, we know they got great young backcourt, 2 sophomores that don't play like sophomores. They really, and I think if you're going to take them down, you got to dent that armor of that backcourt. Even though they are seasoned sophomores, they're still sophomores, and they're kind of excitable sophomores. They really thrive when things are going crazy and things are maybe not going their way. They really do a decent job on that. And I know you can't divulge any tactics and whatever and how you're doing. You're just going to get out there and play your thing. Do you look at Lansdowne as that backcourt is their strength, or is it their front court that maybe people are not giving a lot of love to? How do you look at them from an aspect of preparing for them?
I mean, we can talk about the players, but I mean, you got to start with Dwight and the job that he does. I have the utmost respect for him, and he always has his team prepared. They always play really hard. They're fundamentally sound. They run good stuff. Their kids are always where they're supposed to be, and that's how you know they're well coached. You add that in with having a great player like his son. It's one of those things that we know it starts there. You got to do the best you can to try to slow kids down like that. You're probably not going to stop them for the entire night, but you want to make it as difficult as possible. And then the other thing is, they have very talented players that are not necessarily in the same pub that Damien gets, but they're very good. And you can't let those guys get loose while trying to concentrate so much attention to him, because, they can do some things and cause some damage as well. So, I mean, when at this point of the year, everybody's good. Everybody's got some depth. They got 1 or 2 guys that are gonna, could go off for 20 to 25. So you just try to do the best you can to be prepared, do the things that you do well. I don't necessarily get too much into when we scout as far as like all the sets that another team might run. Because let's be real, high school kids aren't going to remember that. It's not like college where you get in-depth scouting reports. So you just got to make sure that your fundamentals are correct in how you guard, jump into the ball, talking, doing those sorts of things. And if there's something that's a wrinkle in there that they haven't seen, then you mention that so they can be aware. But you just got to really execute the things you do at a high level, and at the end of the day, get stops and get buckets.
Well, it should be fun. And again, final one for you. It's Tuesday night, I should say Tuesday at 7 o'clock at your gym. Is that right?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock up there at Patriot High School. The Lansdowne Eagles visiting the Patriot Pioneers. Winner moves on to the state semifinals against the winner of George Marshall and the Region C champ, which is today, South County and Thomas Edison. Sherman Rivers, head basketball coach of the Region 6B champion, Patriot Pioneers. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. I'm sure we'll get you on soon, and I'm sure we'll get you on to talk about other topics down the road as well. I know you're going with our buddy Julian Brown on the Nova Legends podcast. You know, Ed and I were ranting about the whole crazy girl situation going on in Region 4A, so I'm sure we'll get your take on some of these things, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about that in group messages. They're trying to get that figured out. I'm sure I'll get some more information from you at some point.
Absolutely. Well, I hope to see you down the road, Coach, and all the best.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Good luck, Sherman.
All right, thanks.
Sherman Rivers, head coach at Patriot High School in Knoxville. We'll come back with more at 757 Sports Talk right after this word from those that help make it possible. Stay tuned. You're watching on COVA Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
All right, here with Lansdowne sophomore guard Damian Robinson, 31 points, 8 of 8 from the foul line, and 4 steals as the Eagles defeat Oscar Smith by a count of 59-47. As you're going to the state tournament, Lansdowne is for the 10th time in 22 years. Dame, I knew last year you were sick as a freshman on a Saturday, lost the region championship. There was motivation for this game, but I also heard little Birdie told me that there was some Instagram post about a Dame stopper. That got you fired up, didn't it?
Yes. So coming to this game, we knew keep our composure. Don't get into all the hype about this game. It was a lot of noise coming into this game, but we know we get that a lot. So keeping our composure and coming out here and playing our game, not listening to nobody, just play your game, and we knew we would come out on top.
Speaking of noise, it was a packed crowd, sell out what you expect here at these big games. How much joy and satisfaction did you take with you and your team being able to silence the crowd for Oscar Smith?
When I'm playing, when our team's playing, we don't really notice the crowd. We just know it's us versus them. They might want to get the crowd amped up, but when I'm in the mode, when our team's in the mode, it's hard to stop us.
Certainly your performance tonight drew a lot of eyeballs, 31 points, but I feel like this entire team, I mentioned to Coach, that the performance and breakout of Josiah Law is helping you guys elevate as a group. How much have you noticed in practice in just the last few weeks, his game taking up a step and helping him take that step up too?
We just get on him every day in practice. When he don't try to go dunk on somebody or like finishing strong at the hoop, we get on him. So in the game, we know like when we give him that ball in that high post, he's gonna go to work, finish strong, get an N1, go to the line, make his free throws. So we just have our trust in Josiah that he's gonna play hard every game.
Couple more for you. What was the key in tonight, building the lead and not letting them get back in the game? Because we see a lot of playoff games across the state, whatever classification, wwhatever region, where it gets close at the end. You all didn't let that happen. Why so?
Keeping our composure, getting the ball in bounds. They put a great pressure on ball, but we knew how to like contain it. Like 5-second counts, we knew how to break 5-second counts. If I throw the ball, I gotta go get it back, hold the ball, because we know they're gonna foul when it's like at least like 2 minutes or under left, a minute under left. So getting the ball to your free throw shooters to close the game out was big key.
Sure. And fourth quarter, you get a dunk there at the end. How much did you get excited about that to kind of have that as the dagger, if you will?
That dunk, it was very exciting. I heard that's the time I heard a lot of noise right there. Okay. So when I got the dunk, I was like, now we got to finish the game out, make some free throws.
Lastly, Coach mentioned to me that you all watch a lot of film on your own. You're all being students of the game. Whether you get Manchester or Western Branch, what would it mean to get a 5th region championship in Lansing history, your first year as a 10th grader, and go on to states on a high?
It would mean a lot to me because last year we fell short to Oscar Smith. So me coming into this game, it was a lot. And I just knew it, like I had to get back and take this as a win and move on to a regional championship and get this win.
It was Dame time tonight at the Dollar Dome in Chesapeake. Thank you so much. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
So that was Dame Robinson of the Lansdowne Eagles with us here on 757 Sports Talk. It's Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. Put back up the brackets here as my mouse on my computer is getting ready to die. So let's hope I can find that while you give us some quick thoughts on 6A. I should say find the new battery for that, I should say. On 6A before we scroll down to 6B, Oscar Smith fell to Lansdowne. Wasn't a real shock there. Manchester beating Western Branch, then beating Lansdowne. That was the surprise here. They've been kind of the underdog story in 6 and not a lot of fanfare, not really a hallmark player. In fact, the last couple of years, their biggest name was a football stud of Makai Byerson. But here they are with a chance to win the championship if they keep this going at 20-2 now.
Yeah, it's hard to think about a team that's won 20 games to say they're kind of flying under the radar, but that's what they've done. Solid defensive team, very solid defensive team, and obviously looks like they score, obviously enough points or what they have to do to when they play somebody. I think so much attention has been placed on Lansdowne throughout the year because of backcourt, and again, Dwight Robinson's been there before.
You see 6B, Ed, where Patriot ended up outlasting Gainesville. I should say more than outlasting them. Handled Gainesville after outlasting Potomac in the semifinals. 6C, Occoquan region. Oh, tough one for your buddy Doug Craig at Woodson. They lost by a whisker at Thomas Edison, 62-61. It's South County, led by Coach Mike Robinson. You saw the game winner from Johnny Anderson, taking on Thomas Edison, coached by former Virginia Wesleyan point guard Trey Ford. He played for Dave Mazzito and the Mullins, who had a tough overtime loss last night in the ODAC semifinals to Roanoke College, who's playing Randolph-Macon today in the ODAC Tournament Championship out in Salem. But it's Edison. Wasn't really on our radar to be going to states, and South County, who's always been in the picture out of that Patriot district. Mike Robinson's got another good group. They won the state championship a few years back, if you recall, when they had Quentin Malora Brown and beat Western Branch in the final.
Yeah, I think South County, I look at them every year because of they usually have the right athletes that can do something here. But, when this thing all started, I'm trying to think, I don't know if you remember who I had maybe moving on into this. Was it South County or?
You had Woodson in South County like I did. But
yeah,
with him, yeah.
Of course, I like Doug a whole lot. I think he's a great guy, good coach. My favoritism would go with him, but they're out now.
It's because y'all both hail from Pennsylvania. You got to represent the PA pride.
Yeah.
And then in Region 6D, again, much like Manchester, I think George Marshall is sneaky. They're well connected. They got a couple players this weekend. I want to highlight them right now. We have a chance here just to shout them out. Trey Leonardo, one of their guys that's really been impactful for them here. It's just been doing great work for them. Leonardo had 11 points, 21 rebounds against Centerville, and junior Jackson Frazier. By the way, Leonardo's a junior. Jackson Frazier triple-double with 12 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. There's two teams, I'll say, both from Nova, that are junior heavy that I could see making a run next year. George Marshall's one. We'll get to Stonebridge in Class 5 in a bit. They took down Green Run a few years back, if you recall, the year after COVID for a championship. But they played Westfield a lot better than I would have given them credit for. And here they are at 23-4. They can be sneaky, and they're well coached. Jerry Lynn does a good job, he and his staff. I don't think we can sleep on them entirely. We've said all year it's kind of a three-team picture with Westfield, Patriot, Lansdowne. But Marshall and Manchester now have got my attention at least.
Yeah, Marshall was someone we have an eye on most of the year, but Westfield is a team out of that region that I thought would be there when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and you label them the favorite going in. Obviously, Lansdowne and Patriot have to square off in the quarterfinals that we touched on a few moments ago with Coach Rivers, but it feels like that's the team that's going to be at VCU, what you would say with a lot of confidence that they'll take out Manchester, Gainesville, Edison, or SoCo. The other side of the bracket could be more of a war. You could have South County, George Marshall, Patriot, Lansdowne, two really good quarterfinal games. But I feel like it's Westfield's going to be there on March 12th. It's just a matter of who they're going to see, right?
Yeah, I would say Westfield, boy, but keep an eye on that Manchester squad. I would say Westfield out of that bottom bracket and up top. Got to believe the winner of Patriot Lansdowne comes through.
Oh, Ed is excited about the Class 5 bracket. He used to coach in Class 5. That's why, but let's go to Region 5A for a moment. Region 5B. Green Run, Kempsville, 68-65. None of us saw Trey Freeman. We'll just be honest, getting to the state tournament with this team at Kempsville. Remember a couple years ago, Darren Sandlin got there with the Chiefs, lost to Green Run in the region championship, but now 4 in a row for Kenny Harris, Ed, who's now got like 22 region playoff wins. You remember it for the longest time. They said, when's he going to get over the hump? He didn't get to the state tournament until he beat you on that half-court shot from the late, great Ashley James back in 2019 at the Norfolk Scope in what was a memorable classic playoff game. And now all he does is win, 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 no matter what.
And when everybody say arms go up, that's good. They're there. That's the key. I thought out of this bracket they would. I thought they may play PA.
Mm-hmm.
PA beat them twice during the year. I thought maybe PA would come out of this. I had Indian River beating Kempsville. I had PA beating Kempsville. Wrong on both.
You had Kellum over Salem, and Norm Hassel lost a double OT heartbreaker, a gut-wrencher to the Sun Devils. That was the game of this tournament, quarterfinals, 2-point game, double OT game, although Kempsville beat Indian River on a buzzer-beater game-winning layup from Christian Lynch. They were winning the whole way, almost lost it at the end. But, yeah, this one didn't have as much drama as maybe the other region, 5B, did, which was the region you watched up close and personal, where Norview took down Nansman in the final after the Warriors beat their rival Kings Fork by 3. They were down 10 in the second half, and Norview had to hold on for dear life against Woodside. They actually lost the lead and recovered it with Keon Fats Mitchell. We got a comment up here from one of our viewers, our man Sports 2026. Norview seems to put the ball in Keon Mitchell's hands on every play late in the game. Your thoughts of that, good, bad, or indifferent, and what you witnessed there at Norview? You saw 6 of the 7 games there at Norview. You didn't see the championship, but you saw the other games. Your analysis, sir.
Well, Norview, you play Norview, Keon Mitchell's is going to have the ball. He's going to touch the ball every possession unless it's a breakaway fast break for somebody. And he's either going to score it on a drive, he's going to pop the 3 in your face, or he'll at the last second make some kind of a hook pass, crazy pass, finds the right open guy who can hit it. Mm-hmm. He kind of, without being the athlete that this guy is, he reminds me of Russell Westbrook. He's ball dominant. He's ball dominant.
Okay.
He can rebound. He doesn't pass a lot, but when he passes, he makes key passes to guys that hit shots.
See, I think his conditioning's better this year than last year, because you and I both felt last year he kind of had a somewhat underwhelming compared to his hype in his freshman sophomore emerging. He was great this year. He's really picked it up this year. I think he's improved his play greatly and been that elite level. One thing on him real fast before you finish up. Do you think he's now the front runner for, I'm not going to say Class 5, it's too early for state player of the year, but Tidewater player of the year? It feels like it's between him and Dame Robinson, who you just heard from Lansdowne, neck and neck right now. We'll see how those two teams do in the state tournament, but the sophomore from Lansdowne and the senior from Norview are probably your 2 favorites in the clubhouse at the moment. Like Barksdale and Cash Jackson last year, and then Cash Jackson beat them head-to-head. They won't play each other, Ed. They're in different divisions. So last year, Jackson got the better of Silas and got the award.
It all depends on when the voting is the voting taken during basically the regular season, or do they wait till after?
It's the newspaper does Tidewater player of the year, so that's up to our guy Larry Obama, the pilot. But my point is, it seems like those are the two leading candidates, unless somebody comes out of nowhere and has an unbelievable playoff to upset the apple cart. It feels like it's down to those 2 guys. Wouldn't you say right now, in the 7-5-7 at least? Or are we leaving somebody out?
I want to say yes, but I want to try to picture everybody that's in there, and who their top player is. But yeah, I mean, it's easy to roll the dice and say it's one of those 2. Okay. Mitchell's. I mean, they're both very important for their team, but Mitchell is involved in almost every offensive set. Of course, Dame is too, running the point, and Dame can score it, rebound it, he can pass it. Dame. The big thing I like about Dame this year, his playmaking abilities have increased from last year. I think last year was more of a shot, looking for that shot, taking that shot at the point. And you want your point guard to be maybe your best playmaker, and he has taken that role on very well. And again, he's only a sophomore. He's not going to get worse. He's only going to continue to get better, and he's pretty damn good right now.
And you can tell he's got the IQ. He's like a little computer brain when he does these interviews. He's really savvy. How about Class 5 Region C? Another one of our buddies. We'll get him on the show here, I'm sure soon, unless he's declaring he's not coming on because of you last year, jinxing him against Green Run. Shame on you. Greg Maynard at Albemarle. This guy is, I think, got the most wins in the state, best coach without a state championship. He's lost heartbreakers to Green Run a year ago on Cash Jackson's coast-to-coast layup. LC Bird twice in the state semis. We called one of those at Hampton U. He destroyed, I should say, his team, not so much he. His squad with a couple 1,000-point scores. The big boy inside, Marjillin Jackson and Makai Ragland, the junior, over 1,000 points each. They just handled James River, who slipped by Highland Springs. Albemarle looks like the team to beat in Class 5, or do you say it's somebody from Tidewater just because of the athletic ability and you're not quite sure Albemarle has enough? What do you think?
My heart kind of goes out to Greg at Albemarle, one of those veteran guys, get that state title. But, my allegiance goes out to Tidewater area, Hampton Roads area.
Ed, 32 points in a region final is a lot to win by.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because look at the other chips. So you had a 6-point game, you had a 3-point game, you had a 4-point game where Massaponax, with Aaron McFarland, former CNU guard, edging out Stonebridge 65-61. They were all 2-possession games. This was not a 2-possession game, and James River was, not chopped liver. They were 18-2.
Yeah, and you're right. And if Albemarle plays,
keep saying that. I'm right. I like hearing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, if they play a Tidewater team, a Hampton Roads team, whatever phrase you want to use, if they win, they're not winning by 32.
They don't have to win by 30. They just got to win by 1 point. And last year they lost by, was it 1 or 2 points?
True. Yes.
That was an ugly state championship. Remember that game at VCU was 43-41. That was a low scoring game.
Yeah. When I look at that, like I said, my heart goes out to Greg because he's a veteran guy. He's done a lot of things the right way. He's got to win. He's got to win one. But now if he gets matched up against the Tidewater team, I'm like, I'm a 757 guy. I mean, you can win one, but it won't be this time. That's kind of how I look at it because I like to see 757 teams win. I just feel the best basketball is in our area. And there's a tremendous ball everywhere now. Come on, there's coaches, players, whatever. But I'm a 757 guy.
All right, our last 10 minutes before we let you run, and then I'll do a segment on college basketball to put the finishing touches on the show because I know you have to bolt here. Class 4, Region A, Hampton over Denby by 6. Closer than the last meeting, but the Crabbers under Eric Brown have won 24 consecutive ball games. Verona beats Cortland 48-36. Heritage Leesburg edges out Broad Run by 2 in overtime, 65-63. Tuscarora lost to Broad Run. Colin Bird's great career at Tusky comes on in. He's going to Grambling State. We heard from him a few weeks back. And in Region D, we didn't put the score in there, but Glass beat Danville. Apologize about that. And then Hanley, we did not connect with Zach Harrells. Look, we'll try to, in the next day or two, probably get him on the show. But my goodness gracious, the judges, Will Brondwin back. It matters, even if he's not at 100% health. They got Christian Dinges, Kyron Oglesby. Glass was the last unbeaten team, Ed, and they take an L. And now they could go from 23-0. DJ Best, the coach, by the way, who hails from the 757, Lansdowne High product, he could now have to beat Heritage Leesburg again. He handed Heritage Leesburg its only loss of the season. So somebody with one loss is going to suffer their second and be done. Hampton, their bracket isn't easy, but they would host that winner if they beat Cortland. Hanley, Broad Run, Verona, Denby. I know what you're thinking over there. I can read your brain, read your mind. Although Zach Harrell, Zook, and Hanley and Heritage and EC Last have other ideas. We're on a collision course for the third in a row of Verona, Hampton, but this time it's going to be on a Saturday afternoon at the Siegel Center in Richmond, 804 versus 757 in the final. Is that what you're thinking? That's what your brain's thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're forcing me to say it, yes, but Hanley is getting hot. Zach's done a really good job under circumstances of losing a great player.
And remember, they had Verona on the ropes last year in the semis. They probably should have beat them last year.
And Broad Run is not a bad team either. Now, we saw them, VA Live?
Yeah. We saw them and Heritage Leesburg and EC Glass. They're all – listen, this 4 bracket, it's not as cut and dry as we're thinking, this is the championship collision course, Menchville, PA girls, or Westfield against the winner of Patriot, Lansdowne. There's about, to me, of the 8 teams – I think legitimately 6 or 7 can win a championship. Sorry to Cortland. I don't think they've overachieved to me, but I think the rest of them all could win the title and get there.
And I'll say this to Cortland. I'll give you props, but you're playing Hampton, who I think still of all these is the best. That's just a monster team.
They could win a game against anybody in this field, but I said some other teams in this field. I should say not anybody, but I think Hampton's the wrong matchup for them. I think other 7 though have a legit chance to get to the final, and that even includes Denby going on the road against Varane, because I don't think that's an insurmountable game. They're going to do some things right and certainly limit Damari Carter on the backboards, but it's there. It's doable.
Denby has a couple signature wins. How do we need to say how they hit that half-court shot to beat Norview?
Yeah, Callan Morrison.
And to beat somebody on a half-court shot, that means you had to be close to them pretty much the whole game, and they were. So, I love Verona, but watch out for Denby.
Ed's an expert in half-court shots, even though he lost one. Class 5, lost one. Oh, she lost on one. Green Run, Nansman River. Oh, the last time they squared off in the playoffs, we remember what happened. It was a half-court shot in 2019. Will the Warriors get some revenge? And how about this? If they don't, Green Run would host Albemarle potentially, if they beat Stonebridge, in the state semis in Virginia Beach. How about the storyline there? Do the Patriots exact some revenge on Green Run from last year's heartbreaking loss, with Raglan and Jackson leading the way? Oh, some great storylines in Norview. Kempsville in the quarters, Massaponax, James River, Midlothian. And by the way, can I crow now? I took a lot of flack from you and others for putting Massaponax #1 in the state. If they get to VCU, you all better shut up. I think you all should be quiet now, because here they are at 21-6. That hard schedule, playing Verina and Woodside and some of those teams, it's paying off now, isn't it?
Yeah, I was one of those ones that said, because I saw Massaponax play earlier in the year, I wasn't overly impressed. Good team.
Played Hampton. Remember they played Hampton too? Yeah.
Right. I wasn't overly impressed, but they're there, 21 wins. I think they win this one. I think they'll end up playing Norview. So they'll get to those semis. I like Norview on the bottom, though. The top,
their path, I like it too. Now listen, Massaponax could get them. That's a sneaky game, but I think Norview's that side of the bracket is much easier to navigate than the other side of the bracket, isn't it?
Yeah. Other side, you can almost make a case for any of those four teams.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a 757 guy, so one of them is getting to the semis, and it is 2 places I've coached, 2 coaches that I have. I'm very fond of both. A longtime friend for Kenny, and of course, Joe Hassell was my assistant for 3 years, took over for me.
You can be the honorary throw the ball up guy. It can be you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I had a couple of great years. Of Green Run and a 20-year run at Nansman. So let me just say this: I'm going for 757. And who's going to pin me down to say, well, which team? Well, if you look at my background, where I was and how long and so forth and so on, I think you see where I'm leaning. And I think,
matter of fact, you've coached 3 of these teams: Green Run, Nansman, and Norview. This is the Ed Young bracket, ladies and germs.
Yeah, that's right. Some 6 great years at Norview, great time at Norview. Yeah. So yeah, it's 3 teams there, and I'm hoping 2 757s in the state championship, and I'm able to broadcast that game. That's what I want to see.
I hate to break it to you. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going on a limb right now before Tuesday, and I change it. I'm going to say right now it's Albemarle, Norview in the final, and I give the edge to Albemarle. You heard what I said. I think and again, I think Albemarle won't let Mitchell by himself go score 30 or 40. It'll take the other Mitchell, Marty Mitchell, Zamarion Mitchell, to get going, and he can. He's going to have to get hot, though, at the single center floor. And we'll see if they can contain the inside play of Albemarle if they get there, and that happens. We did 4, we did 5, we did 6. Let's quickly go to the 3. We'll do more in a regional talk later. You got Petersburg, Lake Tenor. We touched on that earlier, I think. Did we touch on Class 2 at all, the boys? I don't think we did for the state bracket. Floyd County, Graham, Central Wise. We still have some matchups to decide some of this, but right now, I like Floyd's chances a lot. I feel like it could be a Floyd-TJ matchup in Richmond, which would be interesting. And in 1, we've only got 2 teams solidified their spots, but Luray, I like their chances. They got Matthew Owens, the sharpshooter, going to JMU. I like their chances a lot. They're on the boys' side.
Yeah, I agree, too. I think it's Luray. I got eyes on Patrick Henry and also Northumberland.
How about the kid, Kaywood? Scoring 61 points. Cade Kaywood, older brother Cole's at UVA, 61 points and a half. And you know what? A couple people that saw the article, we did an article recapping it. It's all over VirginiaPreps.com. Well, he was cherry picking at half court. Folks, I don't care if you were cherry picking, cherry eating, cherry block, whatever. You have 61 points. What are you Listen, 61 points and a half is impossible to do, and he did it.
Yeah, but if you were picking or eating, that's not cool. That's not cool. And to get 61 points and a half, you are shooting the ball. I mean, even when you don't have it.
They're trying to hate on it. Well, he did it in a playoff game. That is insane.
Yeah. And didn't you say he had a lot of assists too, was it?
No, the other guard had 20 assists.
The guard had the 22 to him. I got you. Okay.
Street's his name. Yeah, I think it was Kate Street. I don't want to butcher his name, but I think it was Mr. Street. We wrote about it on Virginia Press.
Let me be the one to butcher names because I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, you're good. On the girls' side, we didn't do 3 real quick because we did all that focus on 4. Lake Taylor girls going back to state, Sandra Sawyer. We thought it would happen, just like Hampton beating a Bay River school on the girls' side. We thought her team would get it over a New Kent, and they did. Parker's 1,000-point scorer. She's got some pieces there. They lost to Hopewell, who took down Petersburg. And by the way, Coach Edmonds over at Hopewell, she's closing on 200 career wins. Done a nice job. Skyline beats James Monroe. Spotswood over Western Albemarle, 45-22. I think it might be the time here for Coach Dodson at Spotswood to get another championship. Abingdon Stanton River is today. Let's go down to the girls' brackets for the states here for 3 through 1 here. I think Spotswood's the favorite here, Ed. I know there's a lot of good teams, but remember we were a little bit concerned. We took the field earlier. I think at 22-1, I like their path. I think they're going to be there at VCU on March the 14th. I think they're going to be in the championship game. Now, whether they win it, we have some time to decide it, but I like their path the best.
Yeah, I would say so from that bottom side. The key is who you're going to take up top. Looking at, James Monroe.
They lost last year. It's a good point. Then we'll see if that experience helps them against Hopewell to go on the road. Abingdon's got some scoring ability, though. I wouldn't rule them out. I got a funny feeling right now it's going to be Abingdon and Spotswood. Class 2 on the girls' side, no Central Wise and Robin Dotson. It's unbelievable. You said they were the team to beat. They're not here. I feel like Clark County and Strasburg have a great draw here. Now, John Marshall's lost the last 2 championships. That bottom half, to me, is tougher, although there's a 26-0 team that's just been quietly lurking. They're the last unbeaten on the lower level. We know PA girls on the higher level. So all the boys teams are taking L's, but you're down to Chatham and PA girls. Chatham at 26-0. Not enough love. They got a chance to be 28-0 come March 13th.
Well, because they got a 0 under the L column, I'm going to go with them in the top half of their bracket, and it's probably going to have to be against John Marshall. But look out for Prince Edward.
All right. And then in Class 1, girls, George Wythe to repeat is what I'm thinking. Surrey girls lost in the championship to Luray. We got all them freshmen. I think this is a good learning experience for them. I don't think they'll win it. They could get there, though, against George Wythe. But I like Wythe, just their experience, their pedigree. I think they're going to be the team that comes out of it. It's just a matter of who they're going to see in these quarters and semis. And then the bottom half of the bracket, I'm not sure those teams below have enough to deal with them.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, too.
He agrees with me. How about that? That's a rarity. All right, we're going to let you head off to all your jobs.
I got to get rolling. I got people waiting for me. I've got places to be, people to see. So I got to go. You can finish it up on your own.
I will.
And, we'll be back here shortly.
We'll do our special for TV Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. People will see on Cox and Your View. Again, people can watch that on the television side if you are in the markets of Tidewater, Northern Virginia, Roanoke, and Fredericksburg. And we'll come back and do some college basketball talk after you hear from Dwight Robinson of the Lansdowne Eagles after their win over Oscar Smith. It's all coming your way right here on Kova Sports TV. Like, share, and always subscribe. And we'll be back momentarily. Stay tuned.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better. And it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
I'm Dr. Mark Cardelia, orthopedic surgeon and surgical director of the CHKD Sports Medicine Program. We see a lot of knee injuries in student athletes these days, and many of these are ACL tears. Parents often ask how to know when a knee injury may be serious. The most obvious symptom is severe pain or swelling in the knee joint. Your child may have heard a pop when the injury occurred. Look for signs they can't put weight on the knee around 48 hours after the injury, or if the knee feels unstable or wobbly. Those are all signs you should see a CHKD sports medicine specialist. Our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, and physical therapists understand the needs of growing athletes and tailor treatment to fit each child's age and level of activity. Our goal is to accurately diagnose the problem in a timely fashion and provide the treatment that will ensure a safe return to activity. Kids want to play, and we want to help them get back in the game. To learn more, visit chkd.org. Sports medicine at CHKD. We're more than a hospital.
Okay, here with Lansing Hood basketball coach Dwight Robinson as Eagles win at 59-47 over Oscar Smith on the road in the region semis to punch their ticket to the state playoffs for the 10th time in 22 seasons. Coach, you're now 6-2 against the Tigers in the playoffs and regionals or state since 2017, but there was a lot of motivation for your guys, the ones that lost here on a Saturday in the region championship. They wanted some payback tonight, didn't they?
They remember it. And one thing Dane told the guys, said we got bullied last year and didn't want to get bullied this year. And that's something that he told them before we left the locker room. And so we did come out with some good energy early on, and we wanted to attack the basket as much as possible, but we needed to be strong through the contact. And so that was something that we talked about all week, and we tried to work on.
Speaking of your son, Damian Robinson, the sophomore tonight, 31 points, a perfect 8 of 8 from the foul line, which I know as a coach makes you happy, but even more impressive, just the efficiency. He didn't commit his first turnover until the fourth quarter, which was, from my vantage point, a little bit of a questionable offensive foul call.
Yeah, he's just gotten better and better and better. And if you look at every big game we've had, he's probably had maybe 16, I think maybe 14 might be the least amount of points he's had in the first half. Yeah. And then he gets to distributing in the second half. But this is not abnormal for what he does. And so, we feel like he can do that most nights, but we do have a lot of other great players, I think, around him, and Chase Johnson and Shaw and Law. And then we have guys off the bench that can put the ball in the hole too. So, he does what we need him to do.
And tonight was not a game where you went as deep into your bench, but I'll tell you, the guy who's been the breakout performer is Josiah Law for you. Coming over, I know he played football this year. I don't know if he would have had the type of game, the confidence in his full game to do what he did tonight. 15 points, 6 rebounds, and he's really, in a lot of ways, not just athletic for you, defends. He's also at times your secondary ball handler, too, to complement Dame.
Yeah, Josiah, as I just said a few minutes ago, he's kind of like our X factor. If Joe plays well, we're really hard to stop. And so as long as Joe's locked in, we feel pretty good about what we're doing out there on the floor. He plays really 2 through to 5 for us. And we get some favorable matchups with people trying to guard him, especially if they're a team that tries to switch.
Speaking of switching, it looked like you changed some things up defensively early on to keep that off balance. Was that kind of the strategy coming in to let them get comfortable?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that they had to really work and had to think about where the ball was going. We've really been working on our communication in our man, and then when we do run our switch defense or when we go to zone, really been working on how to communicate through that so that we don't get overloaded on one side or, maybe we don't tag the roller. So a lot of stuff we've been working on, for these playoffs in order to, be a better defensive team.
Lastly, you're going for your 5th region championship. You know the importance of getting a regional title as you go into state playoffs, but it feels like ever since that game against Petersburg, and this has been a trend for your team for years in January, whether you play in our Virginia Preps Classics or big out-of-district showcase matchups, games of that sort, your team starts to take off a bit. Have you sensed that from this group that they've kind of got hungrier as the playoffs have come here?
Honestly, it's how they come into practice. That's how I know how prepared we are, how focused we are. When they come in with a lot of energy and they're talking right off the bat and I don't have to prime them, I'm like, we're going to be all right. And so this week, last week when we played Thomas Dale, didn't have to prime them. Didn't have to prime them this week for Oscar Smith. And hopefully tomorrow I don't have to prime them for the championship game. So, I think they're pretty locked in. I know that they're doing film study on their own, so they're able to come in and tell me about their personnel, who they're guarding, what they run. And so I know that they're locked in right now, and so hopefully that shows on Thursday night.
Well, thank you so much. Congrats, and we'll see the Eagles in the state tournament.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
So you heard from Dwight Robinson, head basketball coach of the Lansdowne Eagles, who beat Oscar Smith in the region semis before falling to Manchester in the region 6A final. Will be traveling to take on Patriot in the state quarterfinals back here on 757 Sports Talk. It's now time to give us a little bit of time before we delve into some college hoops on the VISAA, the private school scene, as there are some matchups on the private school side, on the boys' side that we haven't touched on yet. Championship games today going on at Benedictine at 6 o'clock. It's Paul the Sixth against Bishop O'Connell. PVI just stockpile with talent as usual. Jordan Smith, who's headed to Arkansas to play his college hoops in Fayetteville in the SEC. They've gotten the better of O'Connell before, WCAC tournament, and in general. And you see their matchup with O'Connell coming up today at 6 o'clock. O'Connell took out Highland, who won the championship, of course, last year when they had Nate Amen, who's also playing in the SEC for Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Volunteers, who suffered a difficult loss this week on the road at Missouri. But Ament has been as good as advertised, if not better, projected lottery pick coming out of Highland. But O'Connell, you see there, gets the W. They've got, of course, Darius Bivens, who once upon a time played in the public school side of things. When he was at Alexandria City, which folks still call TC Williams, but Blue Ridge lost to PVI, and Blue Ridge is always a really good program under Kate Lemke that was winning championships until they run into a team like PVI. It's just nationally ranked in a machine. 4 o'clock today at Benedictine's Fairfax Christian taking on Miller School, and Coach Merriweather's produced a number of guys. We think of Austin Ball comes to mind, a shooter, and Ryan Crotty. And Fairfax Christian, though, pretty strong. 88 points in the quarterfinals against Seton, 66-50 over Hargrave. Miller won a more of a lower scoring game with Norcross, 45-31 after beating Virginia Episcopal. Earlier in the bracket, you see Norfolk Collegiate lost to Hargrave by 3 there in Division II. As for Division III, you've got Evergreen Christian taking on Stewart Hall. 2 o'clock today at Benedictine. They beat St. Michael the Archangel 57-46. I actually liked what I saw from St. Michael the Archangel. Thought they might get through. They beat Portsmouth Christian in the quarterfinal round, but Evergreen, led by Mason Ridgway, the former standout at Riverside, really prolific player for them who's coming to his own. Roanoke Catholic fell to Stewart Hall in the semis after they beat Carmel School. Stewart Hall took down Tandem Friends prior to that. And then your Division IV final that is going on in the next hour at Benedictine, 12 o'clock. Banner Christian, who beat Carlisle by 4, 75-71. Folks have become accustomed to seeing Carlisle in that spot. They actually Banner Christian played Denby Baptist. How about that for Coach Hopkins and company? Coming out of the Metro, the 3 seed. They beat Amelia Academy and then Hampton Christian. So there's your championship matchups there. Let's take another timeout. Come back with more. You're watching 757 Sports Talk right here, exclusively on Kova Sports TV. Like, share, and always subscribe.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Kova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Kova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And welcome back to Kova Sports TV and 757 Sports Talk. Matt Hatfield here with you, going solo for the rest of the program as the coach Ed Young tends to some business. And we now go through some college basketball chatter with all of you here on the program. You see on the screen the Field of 68's projected Field of 68 tournament. If it started today, they got UVA, who's playing at Duke at Cameron today in the 4 line in the South. Duke's the 1 in the East. That UVA matchup, interesting. They've become more offensive-minded under Ryan Odom, led by DeRitter. No, not the Riddler, but DeRitter. Not quite as stout defensively as they were during the Tony Bennett era. They're scoring in the 80s now, averaging almost as many points per game as Duke, but just the versatility of Cameron Boozer could be a little bit too much today. Duke did win that game over Michigan last week. I didn't see it coming, but Michigan looked mighty, mighty good, led by Merez Johnson and Yaxel Lindenborg and that crew, beating Illinois on the road Friday night, getting some separation. My one thing about Michigan is I worry a little bit about Elliot Cadeau at the point. I'm sure we'll get Mike DeCourcy on the program, or David Glenn, or even our man Brad Wachtel, who breaks down the brackets soon, to discuss all the bracketology in the next couple of weeks, perhaps even next Saturday with us on 757 Sports Talk. But I just don't know if Cadeau at the point can be steady for a run of the round of 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2 to win all those games. I can see him having a slip up. Then they have enough weapons. They're deep enough. They go 9, 10 deep. But that's the one concern. There's some interesting games today. A lot of really good games today on the docket. Vanderbilt at Kentucky is one of those games. Wildcats are a slight favorite. Kentucky, though, I should say Vanderbilt, though, under Mark Byington have been really, really strong here the last couple of years, coming in from James Madison. And you see on the screen there, Vandy's projected as a 5 seed to take on 12 seed South Florida. Kansas at Arizona. The Jayhawks, I mean, what KU team is going to show up? What Darren Peterson is going to be there? You just don't know. They're so unpredictable. Remember, they got Arizona the last time they played in Lawrence without DP. And I could see Arizona, with or without Cole Pete, wanting some payback. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I know they have Burries, the other really good freshman for them. And Zona had to rally after a double-digit deficit on the road at Baylor to win the last time out, 87-80 after beating Houston on the road. So they're glad to be back home. Houston, I should say Kansas has been kind of alternating win-loss, and they just won against Houston the last time out. So it could be an L again for them coming up in their next matchup against Arizona today. You got Texas Tech at Iowa State. Texas Tech, you hate to say their season is ruined without JT Toppin, but they have played better now getting acclimated without him at Iowa State, though. In Ames, Momcilovic shooting the ball and what they bring to the table, that's a big ask. I mean, Jefferson's been putting up numbers too, rebounds, assists. That's a big ask. I think Iowa State's going to take that game, and I think the Cyclones are probably the safest 2 on there. Now, I say safest 2. Florida's listed as a 2. Florida's been playing like a 1 lately. They really have been. I know UConn beat the living daylights out of St. John's, who has now slipped on this bracket all the way down to the 6th line, 6th seed for St. John's to take on TCU and Jamie Dixon's team, who ironically enough back in November beat Florida. But and St. John's showed it can go through a rut offensively as UConn just handled them. But this is a UConn team that just a week ago lost at home to Creighton. I'm not as in love with them after that loss. And Duke and Michigan are your solid 1 seeds. Somebody could steal a 1. Houston's not going to do it. Illinois is not going to do it. Everybody slipped to a 3. Iowa State and Florida, if they continue on hot streaks and win the Big 12 and SEC tournaments, I'm not ruling them out, stealing one of those 2 1 seeds from Arizona or UConn. I really am not. I think it's quite possible that they do that. Beyond that, on the seeds here, Purdue just lost to Michigan State. Kansas is a 3 seed. Is overseeded to me. They're not a 3 seed. You just don't know what Darren Peterson is going to show. They're more like a 4 or 5 seed to me. It's interesting that UCF is seated below BYU after they just absolutely manhandled BYU. They're not the same team without Richie Saunders, who shoots the rock incredibly well for them, and then he got hurt. So they have to lean even more on A.J. DeBonsa, who's a projected top 2 pick in the upcoming NBA draft. And then the Miami of Ohio story. They won again. They say unbeaten. They're listed as an 11 seed to play Louisville, who just lost at Carolina this week. Now, Louisville's got themselves a lottery pick, highly projected guard in Mikal Brown, who can light it up, scoring it. Louisville, I know Coach Young had them as his dark horse, his Final Four. They're looking like a dark horse there, as is Arkansas as a 5. Arkansas has a lot of talent. You know, some love Darius Acuff for the NBA. A lot of people are high on him. A few people also question how his game will translate. But there's one thing for sure. That guy is one of the best college guards, bar none. Although Yale, if they got out of the Ivy League, that's a tricky game. Yale beat Auburn a couple years ago. They were my pick a couple years ago. Of course, last year under Bruce Pearl, got to the Final Four. Now Auburn might nowhere to be found on this bracket. I don't see them at the moment on this bracket. Then you had the whole Alabama situation with Bediako. So, and then 2 more games that are really interesting to me tonight in college basketball. Yeah, you have Bama at Tennessee. That's an interesting game. Tennessee's favored. Arkansas at Florida. That's the big one tonight. Gators are a hefty favorite in that one. Their front court is just legit. But here's the biggie. I know people look at Tech and Carolina, and they look at Duke, UVA in the Commonwealth. I totally get that. Sorry, fans. I don't see Tech winning at Carolina despite Caleb Wilson being out, and I don't see UVA beating Duke in Cameron. I just don't see it happening. But the Gonzaga-St. Mary's game, if you like college basketball, folks, Gonzaga at St. Mary's, 28-2. St. Mary's 26-4. Gonzaga is a favorite in this game. I just haven't loved their outside shooting all year long. Graham Ike inside, though. He's a grown man. He's an old grown man, too, by the way, playing college hoops. They're listed as a 4 seed on this bracket. Meanwhile, St. Mary's is in the 8-9 game on this field of 68 bracket against Iowa. But that game, late tonight, closing in on past midnight, 1 o'clock on the East Coast. It'll be right around, I guess ending at 10 or 11 on the Pacific, on the West Coast. But that game has a chance to be the best game of the day in college hoops. But I'm ready for a big day of college basketball. Tons of great action. I'll be making the trek to Pensacola with the ODU women's team as they'll be opening up their Sun Belt Conference tournament on Friday, waiting to see who they'll ultimately play coming up. I actually might be able to share that before we leave for those folks that are curious, because I had someone actually on one of the chat lines, I think, comments, ask if I have the men's and women's basketball brackets for the Sun Belt, and I think I do for some of the ODU fans out there. And again, waiting to see what happens with the other tournaments that unfold for college hoops with the MEAC, which is held at the Norfolk Scope, and the CAA tournament with William and Mary. And they've never gone to the NCAAs. This is the year they finally break through and do that. Is it going to happen this year? Time will tell. But here's your Sun Belt Conference men's basketball bracket. I'm having it on the screen for you right now. Second year in a row that Troy won the regular season. I thought I had it. Oh, there it is. It's the Canadian Geese bracket, ladies and germs. The Canadian Geese. The Canadian Geese. You can't even see that. It's so hard to see. I can't even zoom in for you. So if you're watching on IG, good luck. I'll have to tell you what is on the screen because it's like you say, what in the world is this bracket? Well, here's what it is. Your 1 seed is Troy. Your 2 seed is Marshall. This is the men's bracket. They get buys to the semifinals. So what does that mean? All they have to do is win 2 games to be crowned Sun Belt Conference Tournament champions and go to the NCAA tournament. App State's a 4, Coastal's a 3. They got to win 3 games in 3 days. Your 5, 6 seeds like Texas State, Alabama, it's 4 games in 4 days. If you're playing on the first day, like Old Dominion's men's team is, the 11 seed taking on the 14 seed ULM coming up on March the 3rd. That is Tuesday night, the same night as the state quarterfinals for Virginia high school basketball. It simply means you have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in 6 days to get to the championship. So you have to really run the gauntlet, 7-7. It's not impossible, but it's an enormous ask. And that championship is going to be televised on ESPN2. ESPN Plus has the opening round, second round, third round, fourth round, quarterfinals, and semis. So there you have it. That is for the Sun Belt Conference men's basketball tournament coming up in Pensacola. As for the ladies of ODU, the men are the 11 seed. The women are the number 6 seed after their triumph on Friday night on the road against App State. And again, I'm also curious to see the other brackets when they do come out, when those regular seasons are finished for teams around the Commonwealth, beyond the ACC heavyweights like your UVA and Virginia Tech, George Mason in the A-10, VCU, Hampton, by the way, in the CAA, like William and Mary. So it'll be interesting. But here's the women's bracket. The 1 seed is Georgia Southern, who wins the regular season title in the second year under Hannah Hayden. Troy's the 2 seed. They lost to South Alabama, had a slip-up. Wouldn't have mattered if they won the game, though, because Georgia Southern had the head-to-head tiebreaker. Arkansas State's the 3. JMU's the 4 seed. By the way, the ODU women did beat Georgia Southern on New Year's Day in double overtime at home. But the ladies of ODU, the 6th seed, so they'll either play Southern Miss, ULM, Louisiana, or Georgia State, and beat Georgia State twice, lost to Southern Miss, beat Louisiana. Upper half of the bracket there, you see James Madison wouldn't run into Old Dominion again until the championship if they're able to get through their side. So there you have it. That is the men's and women's bracket for the Sun Belt Conference tournament in college basketball. So there you have it. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We thank all of you for interacting with us and tuning in. For the Coach Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield. We thank our guests, Taylor, Dwight Robinson, and Damian Robinson of the Eagles, and, of course, Sherman Rivers from Patriot for stopping by as well. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV on the YouTube channel. That's where you get all your live streaming of sports, our podcasts, episodes you might have missed, interviews you might have missed, all kinds of sports content and coverage for all of you. And again, log on to virginiapreps.com if you want more of your high school hoops fix all the way through the state tournament. We got links up there to brackets, state tournament brackets all across the board, VHSL, VISAA, and the NFHS network, which will be streaming exclusively the championships once again at the VCU Siegel Center in Richmond, where Coach Young and I will be. That'll be my trip after the one to the Sunshine State. So again, you can also watch part of our program that you might have missed as we talk to you each and every week. Mondays, 8 o'clock Eastern, Tuesdays at 12 noon, and Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Eastern on Cox and YourView. Those are the channels in your markets across the Commonwealth of VA. Hope you all have a great sports weekend, and we'll catch you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. See you later.
Oh my goodness. It's snowing like crazy out here. It's like a blizzard. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. That reminds me, didn't Coach Ed Young say it wasn't going to snow anymore in the month of February? I think he did. Tisk, tisk, tisk.